Chapter 21:20. A man's wealth is his own fault. Duan Lingtian knew this very well. For this reason, he felt a certain amount of pressure. The pressure was like a huge rock that pressed down on his heart, causing his heart to sink slightly. Based on what the Golden Lion King has done, it means I have to give up the Devil Seal tablet. Otherwise, I can't easily reveal my identity before I'm strong enough to protect the Devil Seal tablet. As Duan Lingtian muttered to himself, his expression darkened even more. In other words, he could not easily reveal his identity as Duan Lingtian even if he appeared in public. Otherwise, he would be hunted down by the powerhouses from the upper province. The Devil Seal tablet was a super saint weapon. It was too tempting. Moreover, the Golden Lion King had spread news that apart from the Devil Seal tablet, he had also obtained the Traceless Sword. Similar to the Devil Seal tablet, the Traceless Sword was also a Super Saint weapon on the 10 Great Saint Weapons ranking. There are only 10 Super Saint weapons in the entire Dao Martial Saintland. Now that the Golden Lion King has said I have 2 Super Saint weapons, I'm afraid anyone would be jealous of me. Duan Lingtian's eyes gleamed coldly as though he was about to devour someone. Golden Lion King, I, Duan Lingtian, will remember your kindness. When I break through to the 7th form of the Saint Celestial stage, it'll be time for you to accompany your son, Xiezong, to hell. Currently, Duan Lingtian was forced into a corner by the Golden Lion King from the Zhuangzi Buddhism. Before he became strong enough, he could only hide in the dark. For this reason, he hated the Golden Lion King whom he had never met. Innate spiritual root. I need more innate spiritual roots. Ever since Duan Lingtian's innate spiritual root had transformed into an indigo innate spiritual root, he could clearly feel his cultivation speed had improved tremendously. For this reason, he was eager to improve his innate spiritual root. As long as my innate spiritual root transforms into a violet innate spiritual root or a dark violet innate spiritual root, with the help of the time flow on the 4th level of the 7 Treasures Exquisite Pagoda, I'll be able to break through to the 7th form of the Saint Celestial stage in a few years. Once my cultivation base breaks through to the 7th form of the Saint Celestial stage, I won't have to hide anymore. At that time, so what if I have the Devil Seal tablet? So what if I have 2 super sacred artifacts? Who dares to provoke me? Duan Lingtian became excited when he thought of this. It was as though he could already see himself breaking through to the 7th form of the Saint Celestial stage. Of course, after coming back to his senses, Duan Lingtian felt as if a basin of cold water had been poured over his head, and he was completely awake. Now that I've disguised myself and am wearing a loose hooded black robe, no one will be able to recognize me even if my portrait is spread outside. Duan Lingtian sighed in relief when he thought of this. Currently, my cultivation base has just broken through to the intermediate quintessential saint stage, and I still need to consolidate it. I'll make use of this time to stroll around Sin City and see if I can meet anyone from the Black Crow Alliance. Duan Lingtian muttered to himself for a while before he left the inn. Fortunately, the people from the Black Crow Alliance did not hear Duan Lingtian's words. Otherwise, they would be terrified and would not dare to take advantage of the situation in Sin City. With Duan Lingtian's current strength, he could kill the leader of the Black Crow Alliance with just a strike of his sword, let alone ordinary members of the Black Crow Alliance. The Black Crow Alliance was an alliance of sectless cultivators on the same level as the Ground Axe Alliance. The leader of the Black Crow Alliance was also at the 3rd form of the Saint Celestial stage. Zhao Zhan, the deputy leader of the Black Crow Alliance, did not expect Duan Lingtian to be so arrogant. After killing Zhao Zhan's brother, Zhao Zhan, the true disciple of Zoroastrianism, Bu Hong, was planning to kill the people from the Black Crow Alliance. In the following days, Duan Lingtian traveled to various places in Sin City. Whenever he saw a member of the Black Crow Alliance trying to take advantage of someone else's injuries, he would kill them without hesitation. Naturally, the people from the Black Crow Alliance were not the only ones who tried to take advantage of someone else's injuries. However, all of them were killed by Duan Lingtian. Their innate spiritual roots were also devoured by Duan Lingtian. Most of the people who died at Duan Lingtian's hands were from the Black Crow Alliance. When news of this spread to the Black Crow Alliance's base, the entire alliance was shocked. The black-robed man. Whenever he sees us, the Black Crow Alliance, trying to take advantage of an injured person, he'll kill all of us. Moreover, he kills all of us with just one strike? All the information gathered together to form this shocking and explosive piece of news. The members of the Black Crow Alliance immediately felt threatened. Many of them even decided not to take advantage of those who were lucky enough to survive the deathmatch in the future. Otherwise, they would definitely die if they encountered the black-robed man. Who is he? Is he picking on the Black Crow Alliance? Is he trying to make an enemy out of the Black Crow Alliance? One of the members from the Black Crow Alliance growled. The Black Crow Alliance's members aren't the only ones who have died in his hands. Whenever there's a battle to the death and the lucky survivor is targeted by someone, the person who wants to take advantage of the situation will die in his hands. Another member from the Black Crow Alliance corrected him. Based on his words, it was clear he understood the black-robed man's actions. What's he trying to do? Does he think he's the savior of the world? What a joke. No matter what, many people from the Black Crow Alliance have died at his hands. He has to give us an explanation for this. An explanation for the Black Crow Alliance? Are you kidding me? The members of the Black Crow Alliance usually wear the uniform of the Black Crow Alliance. Why would the black-robed man not attack us just because of that? In my opinion, the black-robed man is openly provoking the Black Crow Alliance. If he doesn't die, the Black Crow Alliance won't be able to stay in Sin City anymore. Similar discussions could be heard everywhere in the Black Crow Alliance's estate. Bang! All of a sudden, a loud noise rang from the front yard of a mansion in the Black Crow Alliance's estate. It was Zhao Zhan, the deputy leader of the Black Crow Alliance, who had raised his hand and smashed a stone tablet in the front yard. Not only was the stone tablet destroyed, but there was also a huge crater where the stone tablet once stood. Sand and dust lingered in the air. How dare he? How dare he kill so many people from the Black Crow Alliance? Zhao Zhan's face was filled with anger as he spoke in a low voice. His eyes were filled with a cold light. At this moment, Zhao Zhan looked like a venomous snake. Since the leader and the other two deputy leaders aren't here, I, Zhao Zhan, will deal with you, black-robed man. As soon as Zhao Zhan finished speaking, he turned into a gust of wind and left the mansion. The black-robed man was what the members of the Black Crow Alliance called the black-robed man. Since no one knew his name, they called him the black-robed man based on his attire. Naturally, the black-robed man was Duan Lingtian, who had concealed his identity. Slow, too slow. Although I've killed many people, their innate spiritual roots aren't high. It's just a drop in the bucket for my indigo innate spiritual root. Duan Lingtian could not help but frown as he walked around Sin City. Hey, have you heard? A black-robed man who likes to enforce justice has recently appeared in Sin City. Suddenly, a voice sounded from the front and entered Duan Lingtian's ears clearly. Are you talking about the black-robed man who killed many members of the Black Crow Alliance? That's right. That's him. You said he's enforcing justice, but why do I feel like he's a villain? Now that you mention it, it does make sense. However, even if he's a villain, I don't hate him. After what he did, the members of the Black Crow Alliance have become more obedient. Duan Lingtian had heard similar words countless times in the past few days, so he was not surprised at all. The people of the city of Sin both praised and criticized him for what he had done. Some people thought he was a good person who was enforcing justice. There were also some people who felt that he was a villain who took advantage of another villain. However, Duan Lingtian ignored their comments and continued to roam around Sin City, waiting for the villains who liked to take advantage of others. If one appeared, he would kill one of them. If two appeared, he would kill both of them. In any case, he had no choice but to go against them to improve his innate spiritual root. Boom, 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 boom. A series of loud noises that sounded like exploding thunder resonated in Duan Lingtian's ears and immediately attracted his attention. Duan Lingtian looked over. However, he discovered that there were two people fighting. From the looks of it, they were also sparing no effort. It was as if they would not rest until they killed each other. This battle also attracted the attention of many itinerant cultivator powerhouses. Duan Lingtian hid at the side, so not many people noticed him. Otherwise, he would have caused quite a commotion. After all, there was no one in Sin City who did not know about him. His spacious black robe with a hood, had become his exclusive symbol. No matter where in Sin City, as long as a person wearing a loose hooded black robe appeared, even if that person was not Duan Lingtian, it would still cause a commotion. Recently, more and more people are fighting to the death. Duan Lingtian could not help but smile wryly when he saw the two people fighting in the distance. Recently, due to the fact that he had been attacking those who took advantage of others, many people were injured but unscathed after fighting to the death. For this reason, more people began to fight without restraint. Chapter 21-21. Duan Lingtian did not expect he would become the protector of the death duels in Sin City. However, he knew it was not something he could control. Although it was a battle of life and death, Duan Lingtian merely watched calmly. He did not feel the slightest ripple in his heart. Before this, he had witnessed many life and death battles in the city of Sin. However, nobody took advantage of the situation and took advantage of the situation. For this reason, he was not affected at all. However, would the outcome of the death duel be the same as before? Would nobody take advantage of the situation? Buzz. The outcome of the death duel was quickly decided. The Saint Saber in one of the death duels shone brightly and killed his opponent. Of course, after killing his opponent, he was also injured. If it was in the past, he would have left the scene as fast as he could. He was afraid someone would take advantage of his injury to kill him and take everything from him. However, he was standing on the spot. After consuming a pill, he sat cross-legged in the air to heal his injuries. It was as though the people around him did not exist. Due to the appearance of the black-robed man, the order in Sin City has improved. If it was in the past, he wouldn't have dared to heal himself so boldly when he's injured. Many Sectless cultivators shook their heads when they saw the winner of the death duel acting in such a manner. They did not even dare to imagine such a scene in the past. Although I'm envious of his spatial ring and the spatial ring of the person he killed, and I'm confident I can kill him now that he's injured, I don't dare to make a move when I think about the black-robed man. One of the Sectless cultivators said with a wry smile. In the past, he was also a person who liked to take advantage of others. However, since the appearance of the black-robed man, he was glad he did not make a move. Otherwise, he would have been killed by the black-robed man. While he rejoiced, he also became well-behaved. Even though he saw many people seriously injured from the deathmatch, he didn't dare to take advantage of the situation. Who knew if the black-robed man was hiding nearby? He did not dare to take any chances. He did not dare to take the risk. After all, if he lost, he would lose his life. Many people say the black-robed man is a villain. In my opinion, it's slander. Blatant slander. Recently, in our city of Sin, there have been quite a number of people who have engaged in life and death battles. There are also quite a number of people who have been on the brink of death after killing their opponents. However, the black-robed man has never come out to take advantage of the situation. This shows that he is not a bad person. A Sectless cultivator spoke up for Duan Lingtian. I think so as well. Many Sectless cultivators in the surroundings nodded in agreement. Boom. However, just as the surrounding rogue cultivators were about to disperse, a thunderous sound was heard. It was a boundless power that seemed to have appeared out of nowhere. It landed on the person who was sitting cross-legged in the void and healing his wounds, killing him instantly. In just a blink of an eye, that person was blasted into pieces, leaving behind only a spatial ring. He's dead? This scene also caused the group of spectating rogue cultivators to be aghast. A Saint Celestial stage powerhouse. Many Sectless cultivators realized the attacker was a Saint Celestial stage powerhouse. Otherwise, he would not have been able to kill the Sectless cultivator who was injured from the death duels without them noticing. HM? Duan Lingtian, who was about to leave, was also alerted by the commotion. He turned around and looked at the sky coldly. High up in the sky, behind the clouds, a figure descended from the air. A member of the Black Crow Alliance? Duan Lingtian raised an eyebrow when he saw the person's uniform. He recognized the person's uniform as a member of the Black Crow Alliance. He had killed many members of the Black Crow Alliance recently. Therefore, he was no stranger to this person's uniform. The Saint Celestial stage powerhouse? Interesting. In the past, The strongest person Duan Lingtian had killed from the Black Crow Alliance was only at the peak of the quintessential saint stage. None of them were at the saint celestial stage. For this reason, the innate spiritual roots he had devoured were not of high grades. Duan Lingtian was, naturally, excited when he saw a saint celestial stage member from the Black Crow Alliance. Since this person's cultivation base was at the saint celestial stage, it meant his innate talent in the martial Tao was extraordinary. His innate spiritual root was not inferior to the members of the Black Crow Alliance whom he had killed earlier. It's a member of the Black Crow Alliance. Isn't he afraid of being killed by the black-robed man? When Duan Lingtian recognized the man from the Black Crow Alliance, many Seckless cultivators who were about to leave stopped in their tracks. They recognized the man's identity based on his attire. Didn't you see how powerful he was when he attacked earlier? He's a Saint Celestial stage powerhouse. He might not be afraid of the black-robed man. That's right. Although the black-robed man is powerful, the strongest person he has killed so far was only at the peak of the quintessential saint stage. He might not be able to kill a Saint Celestial stage powerhouse. The person from the Black Crow Alliance is not in a hurry to leave after killing the person. It's obvious he's not afraid of the black-robed man. I wonder if the black-robed man will show up. Under the watchful eyes of the Seckless cultivators, the person from the Black Crow Alliance descended from the clouds and collected the spatial ring of the person he had killed. After collecting the spatial ring, he did not leave in a hurry. Instead, he stood on the spot and looked around as though he was observing something. What's he looking at? Could he be waiting for the black-robed man? The Black Crow Alliance is finally making a move? It seems like the Saint Celestial stage powerhouse from the Black Crow Alliance is here to kill the black-robed man and avenge the members of the Black Crow Alliance who were killed by the black-robed man. That's possible. When they saw the man from the Black Crow Alliance whose cultivation base was at the Saint Celestial stage lingered in the air for a long time, many Seckless cultivators could guess his intention. If it was not for the black-robed man, why would the Saint Celestial stage powerhouse from the Black Crow Alliance take advantage of the situation? The two people who were fighting earlier were only at the peak of the quintessential saint stage. Even if they were at their peak, they might not be a match for the person from the Black Crow Alliance. With his strength, there was no need for him to take advantage of the situation. For this reason, the Seckless cultivators present on the scene realized the person from the Black Crow Alliance had come to deal with the black-robed man. I wonder if the black-robed man will come after receiving the news. Many Seckless cultivators were curious about this. I don't think so. It's obvious the Saint Celestial stage powerhouse from the Black Crow Alliance came prepared. Put aside his strength, there must be many powerhouses from the Black Crow Alliance hiding in the dark. Some of the Seckless cultivators said, "If I were the black-robed man, I wouldn't have come. This is obviously a trap." I think so too. Many Seckless cultivators had a good impression of the black-robed man that Duan Lingtian was playing. For this reason, they hoped Duan Lingtian would not come. A trap? Duan Lingtian, who was hiding in the dark, called out to Hualao. He asked Hualao to observe the surroundings to see if there were people hiding in the dark. If there were people hiding in the dark, Duan Lingtian wanted to know their cultivation base. It was better to be safe than sorry. Duan Lingtian knew this. At the same time, many Seckless cultivators who thought Duan Lingtian would not come began to leave one after another. News of what had happened spread out as well. After the news spread out, more and more Seckless cultivators came to join in the fun. Someone recognized the person from the Black Crow Alliance and exclaimed in surprise, Isn't he Zhao Zhan, the deputy leader of the Black Crow Alliance?" Zhao Zhan? A commotion broke out immediately. When the group of Seckless cultivators looked at the person from the Black Crow Alliance again, their gazes changed drastically. Previously, they had thought this Black Crow Alliance member was just an ordinary Saint Celestial stage powerhouse in the Black Crow Alliance. They did not expect him to be Zhao Zhan, the deputy leader of the Black Crow Alliance. Apart from being the deputy leader of the Black Crow Alliance, Zhao Zhan was also very powerful. He was one of the strongest powerhouses at the second form of the Saint Celestial stage. He was ranked at the 566th place on the Supreme Saint ranking. It's Zhao Zhan, the deputy leader of the Black Crow Alliance. He actually came here personally. It's obvious he's here for the black-robed man. However, since he's here personally, the black-robed man won't dare to come. It seems like there's nothing to watch today. When the group of sexless cultivators learned the person from the Black Crow Alliance was Zhao Zhan, the deputy leader of the Black Crow Alliance, they were shocked. At the same time, they were certain Duan Lingtian would not come. The deputy leader of the Black Crow Alliance? Zhao Zhan? At this moment, an indifferent voice rang in the air. The voice was not loud, but it seemed to contain a magical power that instantly drowned out the discussions of the sexless cultivators. Following that, a figure clad in a black robe appeared under the watchful eyes of the others. Because the black robe was a loose black robe with a hood, no one knew what kind of person was hidden under the black robe. However, based on the voice, they were certain the person was a man. This black-robed figure was a man. The black-robed man. When the crowd saw the black-robed man, an uproar broke out. All the sexless cultivators had an expression of disbelief on their faces. He's here. Isn't he afraid Zhao Zhan will kill him? Doesn't he know Zhao Zhan is one of the strongest powerhouses at the second form of the Saint Celestial stage and is ranked at the 566th place on the Supreme Saint ranking? Isn't he sending himself to his death? The group of sexless cultivators shook their heads when they saw the black-robed Duan Lingtian. Their eyes were filled with pity. Many sexless cultivators tried to persuade Duan Lingtian to leave through voice transmission. You're the one who killed the members of the Black Crow Alliance in Sin City. Chapter 21-22. Zhao Zhan wanted to confirm Duan Lingtian's identity as soon as he spoke. After all, there were a few people who imitated the black-robed man in Sin City recently. He was not sure if the black-robed man in front of him was the black-robed man who had killed many members of the Black Crow Alliance. Even if the person in front of him was not the black-robed man, he would not show any mercy. He's Zhao Tu's brother? Duan Lingtian, who was clad in a black robe, found the name Zhao Zhan familiar. After some thought, he realized Zhao Zhan was the brother of Zhao Tu, the member of the Black Crow Alliance who he had killed. He still remembered Zhao Tuesday. Before he killed Zhao Tu had mentioned Zhao Zhan, the deputy leader of the Black Crow Alliance. However, he did not pay much attention to it. Zhao Zhan did not expect the black-robed man to be the black-robed man in front of him. Not only did the black-robed man in front of him kill many members of the Black Crow Alliance, but he was also the one who killed his brother, Zhao Tuesday. Naturally, Duan Lingtian did not expect Zhao Zhan to be the black-robed man in front of him. They're just a bunch of trash who like to take advantage of others. So what if I killed them? Duan Lingtian replied indifferently to Zhao Zhan's question. His expression was calm, as though he was not bothered by the fact that he had killed the members of the Black Crow Alliance. In fact, he was not bothered by the matter at all. He had seen many members of the Black Crow Alliance in Sin City, but he did not kill all of them. The members of the Black Crow Alliance who had died in his hands were those who wanted to take advantage of others. Duan Lingtian did not have any psychological burden when he killed these people. Hua. As soon as Duan Lingtian finished speaking, the surroundings fell silent. The sexless cultivators who were whispering among themselves fell silent as they stared at Duan Lingtian in shock. They did not expect Duan Lingtian to be so valiant. How dare he act so arrogantly in front of the deputy leader of the Black Crow Alliance, Zhao Zhan, who was ranked at the 566th place on the Supreme Saint ranking? Was he not afraid of death? To dare to act like this in front of Zhao Zhan, could it be that he is stronger than Zhao Zhan? Suddenly, a rogue cultivator guessed. His words immediately caused an uproar among the crowd of rogue cultivators. Now that you mention it, it's possible. My thoughts have also changed. Why must Zhao Zhan be stronger? Perhaps this black-robed man was even stronger than Zhao Zhan? After all of the people he has killed so far have been killed in one hit. That's right. Even the strongest person he killed was only at the peak of the quintessential saint stage. Who can say he's not at the third form of the Saint Celestial stage or above? When the group of itinerant cultivators discussed again, they changed the topic. When Zhao Zhan heard the words of these independent cultivators, his expression changed drastically. After being reminded by these rogue cultivators, he came back to his senses and realized a problem. He didn't understand the true strength of the black-robed man before him. Since the black-robed man dared to appear after his identity was exposed, there were only two possibilities. The first possibility was that the black-robed man was weaker than him and wanted to trick him into retreating. The second possibility was that the black-robed man was stronger than him and was not afraid of him. They're just a bunch of trash who like to take advantage of others. So what if I kill them? Duan Ling Tian's arrogant words kept reverberating in Zhao Zhan's ears, causing him to lean more and more toward the second possibility. The black-robed man was stronger than him. You've killed so many people from the Black Crow Alliance. Our leader won't let you go. Just you wait. Taking a deep breath, Zhao Zhan finally thickened his face and said these words in a deep voice. As soon as he finished speaking, he turned around and prepared to leave. He had already made up his mind. No matter how humiliating it was better for him to retreat. If the black-robed man was stronger than him, it would be over for him. There was another leader in the Black Crow Alliance who was stronger than him. In his opinion, it would not be too late for him to deal with the black-robed man after the leader of the Black Crow Alliance returned. Moreover, it would be safer. For this reason, Zhao Zhan decided not to take the risk. However, was he allowed to leave just because he wanted to? Whoosh! Duan Ling Tian, who was completely shrouded in a black robe, moved. In the next moment, he appeared in front of Zhao Zhan like a ghost and blocked his path before he could even turn around to leave. Zhao Zhan's expression changed drastically when he saw Duan Ling Tian blocking his path. At the same time, the group of sexless cultivators who were watching regained their senses. Zhao Zhan's words still echoed in their ears. You've killed so many people from the Black Crow Alliance. Our leader won't let you go. Just you wait. Based on Zhao Zhan's words, it seemed like he was afraid of the black-robed man and wanted to escape. The group of sexless cultivators who regained their senses looked at Zhao Zhan with disdain. Many of them could not help but mock him. Zhao Zhan is afraid. If he's afraid, why did he come out today? I think he didn't expect the black-robed man to be stronger than him. Now that the black-robed man dares to come out after his identity is exposed, he must be frightened. He must think the black-robed man is stronger than him. I think so too. However, doesn't he think it's embarrassing? Not only is he embarrassing himself, but he's embarrassing the Black Crow Alliance as well. Embarrassing? What's embarrassing compared to his life? In the beginning, only a few sexless cultivators mocked Zhao Zhan. However, more and more sexless cultivators joined in. Due to the fact that the Black Crow Alliance liked to take advantage of others, their reputation in Sin City was not good. However, due to the strength of the Black Crow Alliance, most of the sexless cultivators did not dare to voice their displeasure. Now that they finally had a chance to mock Zhao Zhan, the deputy leader of the Black Crow Alliance, they naturally would not miss this opportunity. As the saying went, if you miss this village, you won't get this opportunity again. They treasured this opportunity very much. Therefore, when they mocked Duan Ling Tian, they were like the Yellow River in Duan Ling Tian's previous life. Zhao Zhan's face turned pale when he heard the group of sexless cultivators mocking him. Do you really want to fight me? Zhao Zhan asked in a deep voice as he looked at Duan Ling Tian, who was blocking his way. It was as though he was a duck being forced to a perch. As he spoke, a powerful killing intent surged out of his body and swept toward Duan Ling Tian. He did this to test Duan Ling Tian. If Duan Ling Tian was only deliberately mystifying from the beginning until the end, it was very likely that Duan Ling Tian would give himself away in the face of his killing intent. At that time, he would no longer have any scruples and could directly kill Duan Ling Tian. At that time, not only would he be able to regain his dignity, but the Black Crow Alliance's deterrence in Sin City would also increase. However, Zhao Zhan's expression changed again. This was because he discovered the black-robed man did not react to his killing intent. Duan Ling Tian did not move at all. Duan Ling Tian's face was covered by the black robe, so he could not see the change in his expression. You're the deputy leader of the Black Crow Alliance. How can you ask such a stupid question? Duan Ling Tian asked after a few moments. As soon as Duan Ling Tian's words left his mouth, the sexless cultivators were stunned for a moment before they burst out laughing. Run! When Zhao Zhan heard Duan Ling Tian's words, he realized Duan Ling Tian was confident he could defeat him. His expression changed a few times before he turned around at lightning speed trying to flee in another direction. However, Duan Lingtian seemed to be able to predict Zhao Zhan's movements and blocked his path again. This time, Zhao Zhan did not manage to escape in time. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, Duan Lingtian raised his hand, and a ruler appeared in his hand like a bolt of lightning. It was a simple and unadorned ruler. Universe teleportation. The ruler was the celestial supreme treasure, the universe ruler, that was stored on the 4th level of the 7 treasures exquisite pagoda. As for the cosmic teleportation, it was a very strange divine ability that the cosmic ruler had. As soon as Duan Lingtian took out the universe ruler, he immediately merged his sun saint energy that was comparable to a saint celestial stage powerhouse into the universe ruler and cast the universe teleportation. In that instant, before Zhao Zhan and the others could react, there was a flash in front of their eyes. A mysterious and unfathomable power swept over them, causing their bodies to spin continuously. Zhao Zhan and the others were caught off guard by this sudden and mysterious power, and they allowed it to guide them in a spinning motion. Just as the lightning flashed, Elementary devouring tactic. With Duan Lingtian's body as the center, an inconspicuous whirlpool appeared. Although the whirlpool only appeared for a moment, it still devoured all the heaven and earth spirit energy in the surroundings like a hungry, devouring beast. Zhao Zhan and the group of sexless cultivators were distracted by the universe teleportation, so they did not see the divine ability, the elementary devouring tactic, that Duan Lingtian cast. They did not notice the abnormality in the heaven and earth spirit energy in the surroundings. At this moment, the sun saint energy in Duan Lingtian's body soared to its limit. It was comparable to the saint origin of a powerhouse who had just broken through to the 3rd form of the saint celestial stage. In the next moment, Zhao Zhan regained his senses. Whoosh! Duan Lingtian seemed to have transformed into a gust of wind that blew toward Zhao Zhan. Zhao Zhan, who had just regained his senses, had a horrified expression on his face. Wong! At the same time, a crisp sound that resembled the sound of a saber rang in the air. Duan Lingtian had continuously infused his sun saint energy into the celestial supreme treasure, the universe ruler, and used it as a saber to slash at Zhao Zhan. He did not cast any martial tactics or divine abilities. Chapter 21-23. There were many types of celestial supreme treasures. For example, the Jasper celestial sword on the 2nd level of the 7 treasures exquisite pagoda was an offensive celestial supreme treasure. The astonishing god halberd on the 3rd level of the 7 treasures exquisite pagoda was an offensive and defensive celestial supreme treasure. On the other hand, the universal ruler on the 4th level of the 7 treasures exquisite pagoda was an assist-type celestial supreme treasure. It could use its unique ability, the universal teleportation, to confuse the opponent and play with the opponent. Naturally, with Duan Lingtian's current strength, he had barely met the requirements to use the universe ruler. Due to this reason, the might of the universe teleportation cast by the universe ruler was also very weak. Zhao Zhan, the vice leader of the Black Crow Alliance, was stunned for a moment. When he regained his senses, he easily broke free from the restraints of the universe ruler's divine ability, the universe teleportation. Even so, it still affected Zhao Zhan to a certain extent. Oh no! As soon as Zhao Zhan regained his senses, he discovered Duan Lingtian had arrived next to him. Apart from that, there was also a terrifying aura that was charging toward him at an exaggerated speed. He was so shocked that he immediately cast all sorts of defensive techniques. However, the various defensive techniques that he had used were hastily executed after all. Although the universe ruler in Duan Lingtian's hand was only an assist-type celestial supreme treasure, it was still a celestial supreme treasure. It was not something the saint weapons in the mundane realm could compare to. Wong. For this reason, when Duan Lingtian swung the universe ruler in his hand, the void seemed to have stagnated for a moment, as though it would be torn apart at any moment. At the same time, the defensive techniques that Zhao Zhan cast in a hurry collapsed and vanished in the wake of the universe ruler's attack. Crack! Following a crisp sound, Zhao Zhan's body was split into 2 with his neck as the center. His head flew into the air and blood splashed everywhere. It was a dazzling sight to behold from afar. Time seemed to have stopped at this moment. The group of sexless cultivators who had just broken free from the universal teleportation saw Duan Lingtian cutting Jiao Zhan's body into two when they regained their senses. The entire process was as simple as cutting tofu. Hiss, 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 hiss. All of a sudden, a group of rogue cultivators gasped as they looked at Jiao Zhan's body that had been cut into two halves. Their eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. What shocked them was not the bloody scene in front of them. What shocked them was Duan Lingtian's strength. Jiao Zhan, the deputy leader of the Black Crow Alliance, was ranked 566th on the Supreme Saint ranking. However, such an existence was like an ant in front of Duan Lingtian. In just a few moments, Duan Lingtian had easily trampled it to death. It's too scary. This black-robed man's strength is too terrifying. Jiao Zhan is ranked at the 566th place on the Supreme Saint ranking, but he's so weak in front of him. Moreover, he killed Jiao Zhan with an ordinary ruler that can't even be considered a saint weapon. It does look like an ordinary ruler. Even when he poured his saint chi into it, the ruler didn't release any kind of power. The universe ruler in Duan Lingtian's hand was an assist-type celestial supreme treasure after all. Therefore, when it was activated, it was not as powerful as the Jasper celestial sword. It looked ordinary and inconspicuous. Those who didn't know better would even think that this was an ordinary ruler. This was exactly what Duan Lingtian wanted. Otherwise, would it not be easier for him to kill Jiao Zhan with the Jasper celestial sword? The reason he chose to use the universe ruler was, naturally, because he did not want to expose his identity as Duan Lingtian. Recently, the topic in Sin City had shifted to his identity as the black-robed man. The topic of his identity as Duan Lingtian had become less and less common since people thought he had left Sin City. However, if news of the Duan Lingtian and the black-robed man were the same person spread, it would definitely cause an uproar in Sin City. Duan Lingtian did not want that. He only wanted to be a black-robed man and improve his martial Dao innate talent in Sin City, so he could achieve his goal as soon as possible. Devouring villains' innate spiritual roots and improving his own innate spiritual root was the most important thing for him. Hualao. Since Duan Lingtian had killed Jiao Zhan, he did not forget to ask for Hualao's help to devour Jiao Zhan's innate spiritual root. Currently, his Sun Saint energy was comparable to the saint origin of a saint celestial stage powerhouse. In fact, when he activated his Sun Saint energy, nobody would think his Sun Saint energy was not saint energy. However, his true cultivation base was only at the intermediate quintessential saint stage. Due to this reason, his soul had not reached the saint celestial stage yet. For this reason, he still needed Hualao's help to detect other people's innate spiritual roots. Currently, Duan Lingtian was getting more and more familiar with devouring innate spiritual roots. Before the group of sexless cultivators could regain their senses, Duan Lingtian had already devoured Jiao Zhan's innate spiritual root to improve his own innate spiritual root. Jiao Zhan's innate spiritual root is not bad. It can be considered the best innate spiritual root I've devoured recently. His innate spiritual root is almost comparable to the sum of all the innate spiritual roots I've devoured recently. Duan Lingtian thought to himself after devouring Jiao Zhan's innate spiritual root. Then, under the watchful eyes of the others, Duan Lingtian swaggered away, leaving only the silhouette of his back to the others. Since Duan Lingtian was wearing a loose black hooded long robe, nobody could tell his gender, let alone recognize him as the Duan Lingtian who had obtained two grade saint weapons. If Duan Lingtian had not spoken, nobody would be certain Duan Lingtian was a man. Based on this, one could see how well Duan Lingtian hid his gender. It seems like Jiao Zhan is the only one from the Black Crow Alliance who came. A sexless cultivator said when he saw the black-robed man Duan Lingtian was impersonating swaggering away. Many sexless cultivators agreed with his words. I heard the leader of the Black Crow Alliance has left Sin City for a long trip. Even if Jiao Zhan isn't the only one who came, do you think they'll have the courage to stand out? You're right. Everyone knows the leader of the Black Crow Alliance is the strongest. The strongest person after the leader is Jiao Zhan. Even Jiao Zhan was able to kill him with ease. Apart from the leader of the Black Crow Alliance, none of the other members of the Black Crow Alliance can fight against him. I think so as well. Even the leader of the Black Crow Alliance might not be a match for the black-robed man. The group of sectless cultivators discussed among themselves as they watched Duan Ling Tian's silhouette leaving. Duan Ling Tian was the only one who knew there were no other people from the Black Crow Alliance around. Zhao Zhan did not even bring any helpers with him. Hualao had already investigated this for him. If that wasn't the case, he wouldn't have swaggered out. Currently, he cherished his life even more than before. Apart from saving Kerr and their daughter from Zoroastrianism, his motivation to improve his strength was so that he could return to the lower province as soon as possible and reunite with his family and friends. Currently, he had no idea what was going on in the lower province. Due to this reason, he felt worried whenever he thought about his family and friends in the lower province. When news of Duan Lingtian killing Zhao Zhan, the deputy leader of the Black Crow Alliance, spread, it naturally caused a commotion in Sin City. Naturally, since Duan Lingtian had intentionally concealed his identity, no one connected him to the black-robed man. Moreover, in order to play the role of the black-robed man, Duan Lingtian even asked Elder Hua to help him devour other people's innate spiritual roots without using the Jasper Celestial Sword or any other iconic divine abilities without revealing his identity. Finally, Hualao asked him to use the Universe Ruler on the 4th level of the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda. The Universe Ruler had its own divine ability, the Universe Teleportation. With Duan Lingtian's current strength, he could not unleash even a 10,000th of the Universe Teleportation's true power. However, if he used it on an unsuspecting person, it would be effective and distract them. At this moment, Duan Lingtian was relying on the Universe Teleportation to improve his Sun Saint energy. To be more precise, his Sun Saint energy had been improved by the divine ability, the Elementary Devouring Tactic. With the interference of the Universe Teleportation, he did not have to worry about people noticing his divine ability, the Elementary Devouring Tactic. With this, his identity would not be exposed. All in all, Duan Lingtian had put in a lot of effort to play the role of the black-robed man. With my current strength, unless it's a powerhouse at the 3rd form of the Saint Celestial stage or someone stronger, I won't be able to kill them at the risk of being exposed. Duan Lingtian was very confident about this. While Duan Lingtian was focused on improving his innate spiritual root in Sin City, as time passed, news of him being the young mansion master of Azure Cloud Mansion in the lower province, killing Xiezong, the son of the Golden Lion King, one of the 4 great kings of Zhuangzi Buddhism, and obtaining 2 grade-level saint weapons also spread to Zoroastrianism. For a time, the entire Zoroastrianism was in an uproar. Heavens! Senior brother Duan Lingtian is actually the young mansion master of Azure Cloud Mansion in the lower province? The lucky guy who obtained the grade-level saint weapon, the Devil Seal Tablet? Unbelievable! Unbelievable! I can't believe senior brother Duan Lingtian is that Duan Lingtian. Senior brother Duan Lingtian is really strong, right? He actually killed Xiezong, the son of the Golden Lion King of Zhuangzi Buddhism, and took back the grade-level saint weapon, the Devil Seal Tablet. Senior brother Duan Lingtian actually obtained the grade-level saint weapon, the Traceless Sword. Chapter 21-24. Duan Lingtian was ranked at the 41st place on the Supreme Saint ranking. He was the prodigious disciple of Zoroastrianism, Duan Lingtian. Most people in Zoroastrianism were proud to have such a prodigious disciple. After all, he was a prodigious powerhouse who had risen from Zoroastrianism. He was the pride of Zoroastrianism. However, the recent news that came back from the outside made them dumbfounded. The prodigious disciple of Zoroastrianism, Duan Lingtian, was actually the same person from the lower province who had obtained the Super Saint weapon, the Devil Seal Tablet. Moreover, Duan Lingtian had killed Elder Xiezong of Zhuangzi Buddhism, who had snatched the Devil Seal Tablet from Duan Lingtian in Sin City. Moreover, it was said that Duan Lingtian had killed Elder Xiezong with the help of another Super Saint weapon on the 10 Great Saint Weapons ranking, the Traceless Sword. Currently, Duan Lingtian had obtained 2 Super Saint weapons on the 10 Great Saint Weapons ranking. Right now, senior brother Duan Lingtian has become the target of everyone in the upper province. I wonder if he'll return to Zoroastrianism. Return to Zoroastrianism? You're thinking too much. Do you think that's possible? If your senior brother Duan Lingtian and you obtained 2 super saint weapons, would you return? If I were him, I definitely wouldn't return. It's dangerous outside, but isn't Zoroastrianism dangerous as well? People in the outside world are tempted by the super saint weapons, but how can we Zoroastrianism not be tempted as well? If he returns to Zoroastrianism, he'll be a huge target. It'll be difficult for him to keep the 2 super saint weapons. However, if he's outside, he'll be a smaller target. Although he won't easily show himself, it'll be easier for him to keep the 2 super saint weapons. I think so too. The topic of discussion in the Zoroastrianism had unknowingly shifted from the demons in the land of exile to Duan Lingtian, the genius disciple of the Zoroastrianism. Because it was related to 2 super saint weapons on the 10 great saint weapons ranking, it caused a great commotion in Zoroastrianism. Azure Dragon Sanctum, the sanctum leader's residence. He's actually the Duan Lingtian from the lower province who obtained the super saint weapon, the Devil Seal Tablet. Lu Tai, the sanctum leader of the Azure Dragon Sanctum, narrowed his eyes in shock. He did not expect the prodigious disciple of the Zoroastrianism, Duan Lingtian, was actually the lucky person from the lower province who obtained the Devil Seal Tablet. Duan Lingtian obtained 2 super saint weapons? Bu Hong, who was standing next to Lu Tai, was so envious that his eyes turned red when he heard the news. As it turned out, he was already filled with jealousy when he found out Duan Lingtian possessed the Traceless Sword, one of the 10 great saint weapons on the 10 great saint weapons ranking. Now that he found out Duan Lingtian had obtained the super saint weapon, the Devil Seal Tablet, he was filled with jealousy. When he thought about how his innate spiritual root had been destroyed by Duan Lingtian, and how it would be difficult for him to improve his innate spiritual root, he felt like he was going crazy. He even felt like killing himself. Master, I didn't expect Duan Lingtian to expose the fact that he possesses the Traceless Sword. In that case, you've withdrawn the charges against him for nothing. He's really lucky. When Bu Hong thought about how his master had withdrawn the charges against Duan Lingtian, he felt like he had lost all hope in life. His master had gone to the enforcement hall to accuse Duan Lingtian of destroying his innate spiritual root. His master had withdrawn the charges because he was worried Duan Lingtian would die in the enforcement hall and lose the opportunity to obtain the super saint weapon, the Traceless Sword. Now that news of Duan Lingtian possessing the Traceless Sword and the Devil Seal Tablet had been exposed, it would be extremely difficult for his master to obtain the Traceless Sword in Duan Lingtian's possession. For this reason, Duan Lingtian had benefited by withdrawing the charges. Who would have thought Duan Lingtian would expose the fact that he possesses the Traceless Sword? Lu Tai's expression darkened when he heard Bu Hong's words. However, based on the current situation, it doesn't matter whether the charges are withdrawn or not. Do you think he'll return to Zoroastrianism under such circumstances? He must know that if he returns to Zoroastrianism, the 2 super saint weapons in his possession will change owners. For this reason, I'm certain he won't return to Zoroastrianism. Lu Tai's words were resolute and decisive. Bu Hong fell silent when he heard this since he agreed with his master's words. In the enforcement hall in the saint land of Zoroastrianism. Father. As soon as Dong Lin learned about Duan Lingtian's other identity and the fact that Duan Lingtian had obtained 2 super saint weapons, he immediately went to look for his father. Dong Yuanjin, the vice hall master of the enforcement hall. You're here for Duan Lingtian? Dong Yuanjin asked when he saw Dong Lin. Father, you heard about it as well? Dong Lin nodded.
Yes.
Dong Yuanjin nodded. His eyes flashed coldly as he said in a deep voice, I didn't expect him to be the one who obtained the Devil Seal Tablet. Moreover, he even took the Devil Seal Tablet back from the Golden Lion King's son, the Zhuangzi Buddhism sect. It did not cross my mind that he had another super saint weapon, the Traceless Sword. It seems like the reason he was able to kill Yang Wan, suppress Wen Yin, and defeat Bu Hong was because of the Traceless Sword. Dong Yuanjin was the vice hall master of the enforcement hall after all. When he learned that Duan Lingtian possessed the Traceless Sword, the super saint weapon, he thought of many things. That must be it. Dong Lin nodded as well. Everyone thinks that his sword technique is powerful, but they don't know that he's only able to execute such a powerful strike because of his super saint weapon, the Traceless Sword. When Dong Lin mentioned the traceless sword, his eyes turned red with jealousy. In the Zoroastrianism, apart from Lu Tai, Dong Lin, and Dong Lin, the news of Duan Lingtian possessing two super saint weapons also shocked the others. This included the three great guardians of Zoroastrianism, who were only second to the sect leader. I didn't expect that little fellow to be so lucky. He actually possesses two super saint weapons. Qinghua, one of the three great guardians of Zoroastrianism and the master of Ker's sister, Gan Ru Yin, could not help but sigh when he heard the news. Even if his heart was as calm as still water, at this moment, the depths of his eyes still seemed to reveal a bit of burning desire. Although he was a guardian of Zoroastrianism, he did not possess a super saint weapon. For this reason, he was tempted when he learned that Duan Lingtian possessed two super saint weapons. In Sin City in the central region, Duan Lingtian was already prepared for the news of him possessing two super saint weapons to spread to the Zoroastrianism. He had even decided not to return to Zoroastrianism until he was strong enough. For the sake of Ker and their daughter's safety, he was eager to improve his innate spiritual root. As long as the grade of his innate spiritual root increased, his innate talent in the martial Tao would improve as well. In that case, his cultivation speed would increase, and he would be able to become more powerful in a shorter period of time. For this reason, Duan Lingtian, who was in Sin City, was looking for opportunities to improve his innate spiritual root while he cultivated diligently. Time continued to pass by. Half a year had passed in just a blink of an eye. Naturally, half a year referred to the time in the outside world, not the time in the fourth level of the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda. A treasure vault left behind by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage. Duan Lingtian had just come out of closed-door cultivation. As soon as he left the inn, he saw a group of sectless cultivators in Sin City flying north. From the words of the sectless cultivators, Duan Lingtian learned that there was a treasure vault left behind by a group of sectless cultivators. The entrance to the treasure vault left behind by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage had appeared in the north of Sin City. Currently, a group of sectless cultivators was rushing toward the entrance. My luck is so good. I just came out of closed-door cultivation, and I've already come across such a good thing? When Duan Lingtian learned that there was an entrance to the treasure vault that was suspected to be left behind by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage in the north of Sin City, his heart began to race. Let's follow them and have a look. Without any hesitation, Duan Lingtian soared into the sky and disappeared into the clouds before he headed north as well. Because there were many rogue cultivators traveling under the clouds, in order to avoid being pointed at, he also chose to travel above the clouds. This way, he could avoid the gazes of many people. After all, anyone would be able to tell he was the black-robed man with his current outfit. Even if those sectless cultivators were not certain if he was the real black-robed man, they would still point at him as though they were watching a monkey show. Duan Lingtian did not like this feeling, so he avoided them as much as possible. All of a sudden, three sounds of wind whistling rang from behind him. It was getting closer and closer. Duan Lingtian was stunned. There were people traveling above the clouds? Soon after, the three sounds of wind whistling arrived near him. Based on the sound of the wind, it seemed like they were not far from him. Black-robed man? At this moment, a frivolous voice rang from behind Duan Lingtian. The black-robed man has become very famous in Sin City in the past 6 months. Naturally, there are many fakes as well. I wonder if this black-robed man is the real deal or a fake. If you want to know if he's the real deal, I'm willing to give it a try, young master. In the next moment, another sharp voice rang in the air. Duan Lingtian's expression darkened. He quickly turned around and looked at the people behind him warily. In just a blink of an eye, 3 figures entered Duan Lingtian's field of vision. The person in the lead was a young man with a devilishly handsome appearance. Chapter 21-25. A middle-aged man and an old man stood behind the good-for-nothing rich kid. The middle-aged man was dressed in a light green robe. He had a medium build and an ordinary appearance. At first glance, he looked no different from an ordinary person. On the other hand, the old man was dressed in a red robe. Although he was tall, he had a small head that did not match his body at all. The person who had laughed was none other than the red-robed old man. At this moment, the red-robed old man was glaring at Duanling Tian with his pair of small eyes. A terrifying aura was faintly emitted from his body. It was as though he would pounce on Duanling Tian to verify if Duanling Tian was the real black-robed man as soon as his young master gave the order. Since Elder Shur has said so, let's give it a try. When the good-for-nothing rich kid heard the old man's words and saw the black-robed man turn around, he narrowed his eyes and said in an indifferent tone. It was as though he was saying something insignificant. As soon as the good-for-nothing rich kid finished speaking, the middle-aged man's expression was no longer as calm as before. A slight frown appeared on his face. Yes, young master. Almost at the same time when the middle-aged man's expression was no longer calm, the red-robed old man who had been standing next to him since a long time ago also charged out like an eagle toward Duanling Tian. His speed was so fast that it was shocking. As he charged at Duanling Tian, the red-robed old man unleashed all his energy, emitting an oppressive aura. Third form of the Saint Celestial stage? When Duanling Tian sensed the red-robed old man's aura, he realized his opponent was a powerhouse at the third form of the Saint Celestial stage. He narrowed his eyes. In the blink of an eye, the old man was already not far away from him in his narrowed vision. It doesn't matter if you're the real black-robed man or not. You're destined to die in my hands today. The old man who called himself Shirkuan let out an explosive cry. As his arms danced, they seemed to have transformed into a pair of wind and fire wheels, causing waves of clear friction sounds to appear in the air. Accompanying this was also waves of sharp aura that seemed to be able to tear everything apart. Reverse fire twin wheels. As Shirkuan roared once again, his arms that were rotating like the wheels of wind and fire suddenly trembled. The next moment, Wong, Wong, accompanied by the sound of two blades ringing out, two flame-like wind-fire wheels transformed from St. Chi swept towards Duanling Tian. The two wind-fire wheels gave Duanling Tian a feeling that they were two Shurasabers that had killed countless people. They gave him a bloody and suffocating feeling. Shirkuan's first move was a killing move. This caused Duanling Tian's expression to darken. Before today, he admitted that he did not know this Shirkuan. However, this Shirkuan not only attacked him first, but he also attacked with a killing move. However, this Shirkuan is not someone who is easy to deal with. At the same time, Duanling Tian's face turned grim as he realized this. Based on the aura that Shirkuan exuded when he attacked, he could tell that many people had died in his hands. Otherwise, he would not have such a strong bloody aura when he attacked. However, this technique that combines martial arts and divine abilities is indeed not bad. Duanling Tian could not help but praise Shirkuan in his heart when he saw the various attack techniques that Shirkuan used. His current strength was no longer comparable to half a year ago. Therefore, his standards were much higher. However, although he felt that the old man's attack techniques were not bad, and the power contained in them was not weak either, Duanling Tian was not afraid at all. Good. As Duanling Tian thought to himself, he stood still on the spot. Whoosh! An ordinary-looking ruler appeared in his hand out of nowhere. It looked very similar to the ruler that Duanling Tian used to discipline his students in the ancient private school on Earth in his previous life. The teacher at that time was his teacher. As soon as the ruler appeared, the sun saint origin that Duanling Tian had been accumulating in his body surged into the ruler without any reservation. The ruler shook, and a crisp sound rang in the air. Streaks of sharp auras spread out one after another. The first to charge at Shirkuan, who was the closest to Duanling Tian, was Shirkuan. He could clearly feel the terrifying aura on the ruler in Duanling Tian's hand. The aura sent chills down his spine. The weapon is a ruler? Moreover, it gave him such a feeling. At this moment, Shirkuan was almost certain. The black-robed man in front of him was the real deal, not a fake, twisting heaven and earth. Regardless of what Shirkuan thought, Duanling Tian shouted in his heart. His hand that was holding the celestial supreme treasure, the heaven and earth ruler, began to move. As soon as Duanling Tian made his move, the space around him and Shirkuan began to ripple as well. The ripples continued to distort, fold, expand, and shrink. When this scene landed in the eyes of the hedonistic young man and the middle-aged man in the distance, it also continuously shocked their eyes. It was as though they were enjoying a feast for the eyes. Could he really be the black-robed man? The good-for-nothing rich kid was already suspicious when he saw the ruler in Duan Lingtian's hand. Now that he saw Duan Lingtian's technique, he recalled the rumor from 6 months ago. At that time, the black-robed man had killed Jiao Zhan, the deputy leader of the Black Crow Alliance. Apart from that, the black-robed man also had an ordinary-looking ruler in his hand. Rulers could be faked. However, this was an extremely terrifying divine ability, and it wasn't something that could be imitated just because one wanted to. The good-for-nothing rich kid was still in shock. All of a sudden buzz. The sound of a blade whistling through the air rang in the air, followed by a blood-curdling scream. The ripples in the space in front of Duan Lingtian gradually lessened before it finally calmed down. The good-for-nothing rich kid's eyes widened when he saw this scene. His already pale face turned even paler. Upon closer inspection, one could see that his body was trembling violently. This hedonistic young master's body was currently trembling at an extremely exaggerated rate. If someone was close to him, they would definitely be able to clearly smell a thick stench of urine. The good-for-nothing rich kid was so scared that he wet his pants. What kind of situation could scare the good-for-nothing rich kid to such a degree? Duan Lingtian stood a distance away from the good-for-nothing rich kid with a calm expression on his face. He was unmoving like a mountain, and the universe ruler in his hand had already been put away by him at an unknown time. Not far from Duan Lingtian, Shikuan, who was still arrogant, had been split into two. The ripples in the space had only lasted for a few breaths. In other words, in just a few breaths, Duan Lingtian had killed Shikuan, whose cultivation base was at the third form of the Saint Celestial stage. Gasp! The middle-aged man who was standing behind the good-for-nothing rich kid regained his senses when he saw this. When he regained his senses, he could not help but gasp. It was precisely this breath of cold air that caused him to inhale a dense stench of urine, causing his face to darken. He realized his young master had wet his pants. Both the good-for-nothing rich kid and the middle-aged man were shocked by Duan Lingtian's strength. He had killed Shikuan, who was ranked 313th on the Supreme Saint ranking in just a few breaths. With such strength, even if he had not broken through to the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage, he was most likely at the peak of the third form of the Saint Celestial stage. In the Tao Martial Saint Land, the stronger powerhouses at the peak of the third form of the Saint Celestial stage were ranked in the top 200 of the Supreme Saint ranking. However, they were unaware of this. Duan Lingtian had only taken a few breaths to kill the red-robed old man. He had spent the rest of the time devouring the red-robed old man's innate spiritual root. It was mentioned earlier that Duan Lingtian had the Sun Saint origin in his body. In other words, after half a year, Duan Lingtian had successfully broken through to the Saint Celestial stage with his monstrous innate talent and hard work. He was now a bona fide Saint Celestial stage powerhouse. After breaking through to the Saint Celestial stage, Duan Lingtian's soul had transformed as well. He was now able to detect other people's innate spiritual roots. For this reason, apart from becoming more skilled at devouring other people's innate spiritual roots, he was also becoming more and more efficient at devouring other people's innate spiritual roots. Both of you. At some point, Duan Lingtian's gaze seemed to have pierced through space and landed on the good-for-nothing rich kid and the middle-aged man. He asked calmly, "Do you want to try again?" Both of you. Do you want to try again? The good-for-nothing rich kid was infuriated by Duan Lingtian's arrogance. His heart trembled. However, when he thought about Duan Lingtian's strength, he did not dare to make a sound no matter how angry he was. Mr. Black-robed. At the same time, the middle-aged man behind the good-for-nothing rich kid stepped forward and cupped his hands at Duan Lingtian as he said, "My young master has offended you earlier, and I hope you can forgive him. Now that the person who offended you has been killed, I hope you can forgive my young master." The middle-aged man was very sincere when he spoke. You, the good-for-nothing rich kid, did not expect the middle-aged man to admit defeat. Horror dawned on his face immediately. He wanted to say something, but when he opened his mouth, he swallowed his words and stopped talking. This was because the middle-aged man's voice transmission rang in his ears. "Young master, I know you feel wronged, but now is not the time to reveal your identity. If you reveal your identity, this black-robed man will definitely be so frightened that he'll kill all of you." Chapter 21-26. The good-for-nothing rich kid was infuriated when he heard the middle-aged man's voice transmission. A wise man knew better than to fight when the odds were against him. He understood this principle. Although he had an extraordinary background, he did not have a powerhouse by his side who could suppress the black-robed man. For this reason, it was better for him to act subservient. "I'll let you be arrogant for now. You'll definitely die if you're still in Sin City." When the debauchee lowered his head, his eyes were burning with rage, and his heart was filled with hatred. Based on the direction the black-robed man took, he should be heading to the treasure vault left behind by the powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage, just like us. The leader and the vice-leaders should have arrived by now. Once we meet up with them, you can ask the leader to kill the black-robed man. The middle-aged man's voice transmission continued to enter the ears of the good-for-nothing young man, causing his eyes to light up. That was right. Why had he not thought of that earlier? Based on the direction the black-robed man took, it was obvious he was heading to the treasure vault left behind by the powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage. He could ask his father to kill the black-robed man and avenge Shirkuin when he arrived at the treasure vault. There was no need for him to wait until he returned to Sin City. The good-for-nothing rich kid no longer felt wronged when he thought of this. His eyes shone with killing intent. "Humph!" Duan Lingtian snorted coldly when he saw the two good-for-nothing rich kids had admitted defeat. He did not intend to continue arguing with them. He turned around and prepared to leave. He had his own principles. Since the two good-for-nothing rich kids had admitted defeat, he, naturally, would not deal with them like how he dealt with the red-robed old man earlier. After all, from the beginning until the end, these two people did not try to kill him, nor did they reveal any intention to kill him. It could be said that they did not touch his bottom line. Just as Duan Lingtian was about to leave, a voice rang in the air. A sonorous voice sounded out from behind Duan Lingtian. "Sir, if you leave just like that, you might not even be able to enter the treasure vault left behind by the powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage." The person who spoke was a young man from Sin City. The young man was dressed in a white robe. His appearance was handsome, and he gave off a scholarly aura. Wearing a feather fan and a silk scarf, he looked exactly like a scholar. Behind him was an old man. The old man was tall and sturdy. He followed behind him like a shadow, as if he was protecting him all the time. "What do you mean?" Hearing the voice, Duan Lingtian turned around again, looked at the young man dressed like a scholar, and asked with a slight frown, "I'm afraid you don't know the identity of this young mastero, right?" At the same time, the young man dressed like a scholar had also arrived near Duan Lingtian. He stopped in time, and at the same time, glanced at the hedonistic young man not far away and asked with a smile, "Dongguaji, what are you doing?" As soon as the words left the young man's mouth, the good-for-nothing rich kid's expression changed drastically. He glared at the young man who was dressed like a scholar whom he addressed as Dongguaji. "Young Master Donggua, be careful with your words." The middle-aged man behind the good-for-nothing rich kid had a grave expression on his face as he reminded Dongguaji. If Dongguaji told the black-robed man about his young master's identity, he might not even be able to leave this place alive. However, Dongguaji completely ignored the good-for-nothing rich kid and the middle-aged man. Instead, he smiled and introduced the two men to Duan Lingtian. One of them is the young leader of the 7 Kill Alliance in Sin City. His name is Oching. The other one is an elder from the 7 Kill Alliance, Lu Jin. He's ranked at the 295th place on the Supreme Saint ranking. The old man you killed earlier is called Shirkuin. He's also an elder from the 7 Kill Alliance. Before he was killed by you, he was ranked at the 313th place on the Supreme Saint ranking. Dongguaji continued to ignore Oching and Lu Jin, who were glaring at him as he spoke to Duan Lingtian. 7 Kill Alliance. Duan Lingtian's eyes widened when he heard Dongguaji's words. The 7 Kill Alliance was one of the 3 strongest alliances in Sin City. It was said that the leader of the 7 Kill Alliance, Otsong Hai, was a powerhouse at the sixth form of the Saint Celestial stage. The young leader of the Seven Kill Alliance? Qing? Duan Lingtian shifted his gaze to Qing. Qing's expression darkened when he saw Duan Lingtian looking at him. So you're the son of the leader of the Seven Kill Alliance, Hai? When Duan Lingtian asked, his tone turned colder. A hint of dread could be seen in the depths of his eyes. How could he not be afraid? Hai was a powerhouse at the sixth form of the Saint Celestial stage. With his current strength, he was no match for Hai even if he unleashed all his techniques. If Hai wanted to kill him, it would be as easy as stepping on an ant. That's right. I'm the son of Hai, the young leader of the Seven Kill Alliance. Qing replied coldly when he heard Duan Lingtian's question. At the same time, he took out a Dao talisman from his pocket. This is the minor mirror image talisman my father gave me. If you dare to make a move on me, I'll crush it immediately. At that time, my father will know you killed me. You should know that if my father finds out you killed me, he won't let you go. You'll definitely die. Qing's tone turned colder when he spoke. It was as though he had fallen into an ice cave. The minor mirror image talisman could be crushed and activated. If Qing had taken the initiative to crush it, the minor mirror image talisman would have transmitted everything that had happened, including the scene in front of him, to the major mirror image talisman. Lu Jin, you're the one who taught young Master O to do this, right? Dong Guizhi raised an eyebrow when he heard Qing's words. He looked at Lu Jin, who was standing behind Qing, and asked meaningfully. In his opinion, Qing was a smart person. A good-for-nothing rich kid like Qing would not be so smart. However, Lu Jin did not pay any attention to Dong Guizhi. I know even if you don't tell me. With young Master O's intelligence, he won't be able to come up with a way to threaten Mr. Black. Although Lu Jin did not pay any attention to him, Dong Guizhi continued to speak as if he was watching a good show. This Dong Guizhi isn't someone easy to deal with. Although it seems like he's helping me, he's actually trying to use me to kill Qing. Duan Lingtian was not stupid. He could tell Dong Guizhi was trying to kill Qing. Dong Guizhi. Apart from the Seven Kill Alliance, the three strongest alliances in Sin City are the Eternal Alliance and the Thousand Years Alliance. At the same time, Duan Lingtian recalled his understanding of the three strongest alliances in Sin City. The leader of the Thousand Years Alliance seems to be called Dong Guizhi. It seems like Dong Guizhi is from the Thousand Years Alliance. Moreover, his position is quite high as well. Otherwise, he wouldn't be protected by such a powerhouse. The old man behind Dong Guizhi came to a halt as well. He closed his eyes and rested his mind. From the beginning until the end, he did not say a word. However, Duan Lingtian sensed danger from the old man. At the very least, he was much more dangerous than Lu Jin, who was ranked in the top 300 on the Supreme Saint ranking. Fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage. When Duan Lingtian asked Hua Lao revealed the old man's cultivation base. For this reason, Duan Lingtian was certain Dong Guizhi had a high position in the Thousand Years Alliance. He might even be the son of Dong Guizhi, the leader of the Thousand Years Alliance. After taking a deep look at Dong Guizhi, Duan Lingtian looked at Qing and asked coldly, "Do you think your father will let me go if I don't kill you today?" Of course. Qing hesitated for a moment when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. However, when Lu Jin reminded him, he hastily replied, "As long as you don't kill me, I'm willing to swear on the lightning penalty oath that I won't tell my father about what happened today. As long as my father doesn't know about this, he won't do anything to you." Before Duan Lingtian could reply, Qing pricked his finger and swore on the lightning penalty oath as soon as he finished speaking. Haha. Almost as soon as the 9 claps of thunder sounded in response to Qing's vow, Dong Guizhi suddenly burst into laughter. "Dong Guizhi, what are you laughing at?" Qing was slightly angered. "I'm not laughing at anything. I'm just laughing at your wishful thinking, young Master O. You're only swearing not to tell your father about what happened today, but you can tell the vice leaders of the Seven Kill Alliance and the other members of the Seven Kill Alliance about what happened today. At that time, as long as they tell your father about what happened today, won't your father still make a move on you, Mr. Blackrobe?" After Dong Guizhi stopped laughing, he said indifferently, "I don't think you're being sincere by swearing on the lightning penalty oath, right?" Qing didn't expect Dong Guaji to see through his thoughts, and he became even angrier from the humiliation. However, when he noticed Duan Lingtian's gaze that was turning colder, he hastily swore on the lightning penalty oath that he would not tell anyone about what happened today. Lu Jin, who was standing behind Qing, also swore on the lightning penalty oath. Dong Guaji could not help but frown when he saw how cooperative Qing and Lu Jin were. However, it did not take long before he looked at Duan Lingtian and asked with a smile on his face, "Mr. Blackrobe, are you relieved now that they've sworn on the lightning penalty oath?" Duan Lingtian nodded indifferently before he continued to say, "You and the person behind you should also swear on the lightning penalty oath." Dong Guaji was stunned. He did not expect Duan Lingtian would ask him to swear on the lightning penalty oath. Chapter 21-27. Dong Guaji took a deep breath. His expression was no longer as gloomy as before. He looked at Duan Lingtian again and said, "Sir, if I had the intention to betray you, why would I come out to warn you? You should know that I've been here since the beginning. I've just been hiding at the side." A hint of killing intent flashed in the depth of Dong Guaji's eyes when he spoke. It was directed at Duan Lingtian. Although it was only for a moment, it was only for a moment. However, with Duan Lingtian's outstanding observation skills, he managed to catch a glimpse of it. He was certain Dong Guaji was not lying. Dong Guaji had been harboring ill intentions since the beginning. "If I'm not mistaken," Duan Lingtian looked at Dong Guaji and said, "You're from the Thousand Years Alliance, right? Although it seems like you're reminding me out of goodwill, I think you just want to use me to kill Qing." A hint of surprise flashed in the depth of Dong Guaji's eyes when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. An unnatural expression appeared on his face. Naturally, the surprise in the depth of his eyes and the unnatural expression on his face only appeared for a moment before he hid it perfectly. However, it was useless even if he tried to hide it. This was because Duan Lingtian had already discovered it. In this life, Duan Lingtian had experienced a lot and was much more cautious than before. Even his life as a weapon king in his previous life had honed his observation skills to the point of perfection. "Sir, don't you think you're overthinking things?" Dong Guaji spoke again with a calm expression on his face. There was even a faint smile on his face as though he was harmless. Unfortunately, no matter how friendly he was, it was impossible for Duan Lingtian to change his mind since he had already made up his mind. "Mr. Blackrobe." At this moment, Lu Jin, who was standing behind Qing, said respectfully to Duan Lingtian, "Dong Guaji is the young leader of the Thousand Years Alliance. The Thousand Years Alliance has always been at odds with our Seven Kill Alliance. Today, he instigated you to kill us because he wants to borrow a knife to kill us." Humph. Just as Lu Jin finished speaking, Dong Guaji snorted in disdain. "Borrow a knife to kill? Putting aside the fact that Qing is no match for me, even you and Shikuan, who was killed by the Black Robe Man, are no match for Elder Wang, who is by my side." The Elder Wang that Dong Guaji spoke of was the old man behind him. "Indeed, Shikuan and I are no match for this Elder Wang, even if we join forces." Lu Jin glanced at the old man behind Dong Guaji with a fearful expression, then continued, "But, do you and this Elder Wang dare to kill us? As long as the scene of you killing us is transmitted to the leader of the Seven Kill Alliance through the Mirror Image Talisman, the Seven Kill Alliance will fight to the death with the Thousand Years Alliance. At that time, our Seven Kill Alliance and your Thousand Years Alliance will fight to the death, and both sides will suffer losses. Moreover, the Everlasting Alliance will be the third party to benefit." "Young Master Donghua, even a boor like me can think of this. Don't tell me you can't think of this." Lu Jin did not hold back when he said this, causing Dong Guaji's expression to darken even more. However, Lu Jin did not intend to let him off so easily. "Mr. Blackrobe, the lightning penalty oath that I made with my young master today has no loopholes, so you don't have to worry that we will spread news of what happened today. However, this young leader of the Thousand Years Alliance, Dong Guaji, who loves to stir up trouble, might spread the news of what happened today. After all, so long as he spreads news of this matter, you'll become an enemy of our Seven Kill Alliance. Once you become an enemy of our Seven Kill Alliance, many people from our Seven Kill Alliance will definitely die in your hands. For him, This is a matter of great benefit and no harm. If he's unwilling to make the lightning penalty oath, I suggest you kill him and the people around him." Although Lu Jin's words sounded like a warning to Duan Lingtian, it was similar to Dong Guoji. He wanted to use Duan Lingtian to do his dirty work. Naturally, Lu Jin was worried about using Duan Lingtian to do his dirty work. He was not certain if Duan Lingtian was a powerhouse at the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage. After all, up until now, he was certain Duan Lingtian was stronger than him. He was certain Duan Lingtian might be a powerhouse at the peak of the third form of the Saint Celestial stage, or at the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage. When Lu Jin thought of this, he looked at Duan Lingtian and said, "Elder Wang behind young Master Donghua is one of the strongest elders in the Thousand Years Alliance. His name is Wang Dingshan, and he's a powerhouse at the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage. He's ranked at the 159th place on the Supreme Saint ranking." He stared at Duan Lingtian intently as though he wanted to see how Duan Lingtian would react. After all, he had revealed the strength of the powerhouse by Dong Guoji's side. However, Lu Jin was disappointed again. This was because the black-robed man in front of him was covered by a black robe. He could not see the change in his expression at all. However, his body did not tremble when I revealed Wang Dingshan's strength. Does this mean he's not afraid of Wang Dingshan? Although Lu Jin thought to himself, he was not certain. He was not the only one who was uncertain. The other three people, including Dong Guoji, were uncertain as well. He's ranked at the 159th place on the Supreme Saint ranking? They did not know that Duan Lingtian's thoughts drifted away when he heard Lu Jin's words. It was as though he had returned to the time when he had just arrived at the Upper Province and the Zoroastrianism. I remember that the Black Turtle Sanctum's first Silver Flame Elder, Leon, is ranked at the 139th place on the Supreme Saint ranking. Duan Lingtian recalled the Zoroastrianism's Silver Flame Elder, Lian Lian's ranking on the Supreme Saint ranking was very close to Wang Dingshan's. Back then, I was like an ant in front of Lian. I could only rely on the Zoroastrianism's rules to survive. Now, I'm not afraid even if Lian is standing in front of me. Duan Lingtian's eyes shone with confidence when he thought of this. After a long time, Duan Lingtian finally regained his senses. He asked Lu Jin indifferently, "You want to kill someone with a borrowed knife as well?" Almost as soon as Duan Lingtian finished speaking, the Celestial Supreme Treasure, the Universe Ruler, had already appeared under his sleeve. It was completely hidden. Nobody could see it at all. In the next moment, whoosh! Before Lu Jin could react, Duan Lingtian had already arrived in front of him. Universe teleportation. In the blink of an eye, Duan Lingtian raised his hand and waved his sleeve that contained the Universe Ruler. In an instant, the space he was in trembled once more. Moreover, it started to warp and fold. It was like the ripples caused by a rock that had fallen into a calm lake. At the very least, that was what Qing, Dong Guoji, and Wang Dingshan thought. Bang! In the next moment, with a loud bang in the ears of the three of them, the blurry void that was like ripples in front of them returned to its original calm state. At the same time, they saw Lu Jin flying backward like an arrow that was shot out of a bow. Blood spurted out of his mouth as though it was free. He was in a wretched state. It was obvious the loud noise came from the black-robed man's energy landing on Lu Jin. In just a blink of an eye, Lu Jin, who was ranked 295th on the Supreme Saint ranking, was severely injured. How powerful! Qing and Dong Guoji's hearts skipped a beat. A hint of dread appeared in Wang Dingshan's eyes as he stood behind Dong Guoji. He was certain the black-robed man's ability to distort and fold space was a divine ability. However, he could not see through it at all. For this reason, he could not help but feel wary. After severely injuring Lu Jin, Duan Lingtian shifted his attention to Dong Guoji and said indifferently, "Swear on the lightning penalty oath like they did or die." Although Duan Lingtian's tone was calm, his tone became heavier when he said the word die. Dong Guoji's expression changed drastically. Wang Dingshan, who was standing behind Dong Guoji, had a grave expression on his face as well. He leaned forward slightly, preparing to attack Duan Lingtian. However, he was stopped by Dong Guoji. "Elder Wang, just bear with it for now. After all, we don't know the background of this black-robed man. If you attack recklessly, you'll only anger him." At that time, if he's stronger than you, it'll be difficult for both of us to survive. Dong Guoji sent a voice transmission to Wang Dingshan. Let's do as he says first. It won't be too late to deal with him after we meet up with my father and the others. We only swore that we wouldn't tell anyone about what we saw. We didn't swear that we wouldn't cause trouble for him or kill him. Dong Guoji's voice transmission was enough to show how calm and cautious he was. After all, even Wang Dingshan was not confident he could defeat Duanling Tian. The confidence that Duanling Tian imperceptibly revealed caused him to have no choice but to be fearful. As you wish. Dong Guoji and Wang Dingshan cooperated and swore on the lightning penalty oath. They swore that they would not tell anyone about what they saw. Otherwise, they would be killed by the lightning penalty. Boom, 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 boom. Dong Guoji sighed in relief when 9 claps of thunder sounded in the sky. He felt that this matter had come to an end. Elder Wang, let's go. Dong Guoji called out to Wang Dingshan and prepared to leave. Wait. However, just as Dong Guoji was about to ask Wang Dingshan to leave, Duanling Tian spoke again. Dong Guoji's expression darkened when he heard Duanling Tian's words. Elder Wang and I have already swore on the lightning penalty oath according to your request. What else do you want? Don't push it. Chapter 21-28. Go too far? Duanling Tian was taken aback when he heard Dong Guoji's words. However, he could not help but laugh. Just take it that I'm going too far. Dong Guoji and Wang Dingshan's expressions changed drastically when they heard Duanling Tian's words. Duanling Tian continued to say, if you want to leave, you'll have to swear on the lightning penalty oath. Say that you won't oppose me in any way. Otherwise, you'll be killed by the lightning penalty. As soon as Duanling Tian finished speaking, Dong Guoji and Wang Dingshan looked at each other instinctively. At this moment, the first thought that appeared in their minds was, did the black-robed man hear their voice transmission? Of course, they quickly dismissed the idea because it was impossible. Sir, you're asking us to swear on the lightning penalty oath. What if you provoke us in the future? Are you saying we can't fight back? If we don't fight back, we'll be killed by you. If we fight back, we'll be killed by the lightning penalty. Dong Guoji said with a grave expression. He did not expect the black-robed man to be so meticulous. It was as though he had everything under control. That's easy. Just don't fight back, right? Duanling Tian said indifferently. Don't fight back? Don't tell me we'll wait for you to kill us? Dong Guoji said angrily. Why don't you die now? The calmness in Duanling Tian's eyes was no longer calm. Instead, it was replaced by an icy cold killing intent. It was as though he had transformed into a bloodthirsty Azura in an instant. His entire body was seething with killing intent, causing the atmosphere to become much more oppressive. Dong Guoji's expression changed drastically when he sensed Duanling Tian's killing intent. You're seeking death. Just as Dong Guoji's expression changed, Wang Dingshan couldn't hold himself back any longer. The moment he made his move, it was as though he had transformed into a god of war as he charged toward Duanling Tian. His entire body exuded an indomitable aura. Whoosh! Almost at the instant Wang Dingshan pounced on him, the celestial supreme treasure, the cosmic ruler, appeared under Duanling Tian's sleeve again. Universe shift. As Duanling Tian waved his sleeve, the void distorted and folded. In the next moment, ripples appeared in the void and enveloped Duanling Tian and Wang Dingshan. In the eyes of Dong Guoji, Qing, and Lu Jin, the two figures were constantly twisting and folding, becoming more and more blurry. They could only vaguely see the two figures, but could not see what they were doing at all. Elementary devouring technique. Almost at the same time that he used the cosmic ruler's divine ability, twisting heaven and earth, Duanling Tian used the divine ability that he had not used for a long time, the elementary devouring spell. In the blink of an eye, he devoured the surrounding heaven and earth spiritual energy. For more than half a year, Duanling Tian had never used the elementary devouring spell in Sin City as a black-robed man. The reason he did not use the elementary devouring spell was because it would expose his identity as Duanling Tian. Secondly, he had not met an opponent who could force him to use the elementary devouring spell. Faced with Wang Dingshan, who had broken through to the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage and was ranked 159th on the Supreme Saint ranking, Duanling Tian had no choice but to cast the Elementary Devouring tactic. If he did not use the Elementary Devouring spell, he would not be a match for a powerhouse at the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage. Even if Wang Dingshan was at the bottom of the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage, with his current strength, he would not be a match for Wang Dingshan if he did not use the Elementary Devouring spell. With my current strength, the universe teleportation that I cast with the universe ruler is much more powerful than before. Not only can it block people's vision, but it can also confuse my opponent. Duanling Tian thought to himself when he saw Wang Dingshan only manage to break free from the influence of the universe teleportation after he had cast the Elementary Devouring spell and raised his Sun Saint origin to its limit. This is, after Wang Dingshan broke free from the influence of the universe teleportation, he saw the whirlpool that had merged with Duanling Tian. Although the whirlpool was dissipating, he could still see it clearly. Swoosh! In the next moment, Wang Dingshan heard the sound of a sword whistling in the air. At the same time, he saw a 3-foot-long blade that seemed to disappear from time to time flying toward him. Its speed was so fast that it sent chills down his spine. There was no way he could dodge it. The Traceless Sword, and the assist-type divine ability that condenses the devouring whirlpool. He's Duanling Tian. The black-robed man is Duanling Tian from the Zoroastrianism. These were the three thoughts that flashed through Wang Dingshan's mind before the 3-foot-long blade pierced through his glabella. He did not even have the time to exclaim in shock. Before he died, Wang Dingshan managed to guess Duanling Tian's identity through the assist-type divine ability that Duanling Tian cast and the Jasper Celestial Sword that Duanling Tian controlled with the sword-wielding art. Naturally, Wang Dingshan did not know that Duanling Tian used the Jasper Celestial Sword. He only thought it was the Traceless Sword, one of the 10 grade saint weapons on the 10 great saint weapons ranking. Although Wang Dingshan had guessed Duanling Tian's identity, he did not have time to tell anyone before he died with this secret. Devour. After killing Wang Dingshan, Duanling Tian, naturally, devoured Wang Dingshan's innate spiritual root. Wang Dingshan's innate spiritual root gave him a pleasant surprise. It's a blue innate spiritual root. Not bad. After devouring Wang Dingshan's blue innate spiritual root, Duanling Tian discovered that his innate spiritual root was turning dark blue. As long as my indigo innate spiritual root can transform into a dark indigo innate spiritual root, it's not far from transforming into a violet innate spiritual root. When Duanling Tian thought to himself, he became excited even though he had experienced a lot in his life. After putting Wang Dingshan's spatial ring away, Duanling Tian let go of Wang Dingshan's body and allowed it to fall from the sky. At the same time, the twisted and folded void that had enveloped him and Wang Dingshan returned to its normal state. Dong Guizhi and the others clearly saw him standing on the spot and Wang Dingshan's corpse falling from the sky, shocking their eyes. Wang Dingshan is dead? Lu Jin was the first to regain his senses. Horror dawned on his face as though he had just seen a ghost. In the next moment, he felt relieved that the black-robed man did not kill him earlier. Otherwise, he would not have survived. What a joke. If the black-robed man was able to kill Wang Dingshan so easily, he would have been able to kill O Yangming easily. O Qing was so frightened that his face turned pale. The stench of urine wafted into his nose. However, he did not seem to feel anything. He stood there in a daze as though his acupuncture points had been sealed. In the next moment, O Qing and Lu Jin turned their heads with great difficulty and looked at each other. They could see the fear in each other's eyes. In the next moment, they swore on the lightning penalty oath. The content of the lightning penalty oath was exactly the same as the one that Duanling Tian had asked Dong Guizhi and Wang Dingshan to swear on. They swore that they would not offend the Duanling Tian in any way in the future. Although they felt that the lightning penalty oath was too much for them, Wang Dingshan were the strongest among them. But now, the strongest of them, Wang Dingshan, was dead. If they don't behave, they will follow in Wang Dingshan's footsteps and be killed by the man in black. They did not want to die, so they had no choice but to cooperate. Boom, 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 boom. Following the two waves of thunder, The lightning penalty oath that Qing and Lu Jian swore on the lightning penalty oath was answered by the 9-9 heavenly calamity. The deafening thunderclaps shocked Dong Guizhi to the point that his body trembled violently, and when he regained his senses, his face instantly turned deathly pale. Dong Guizhi had completely lost the bearing of a scholar. He was like a bird that was startled by the twang of a bow. Do you still have any doubts? Duan Lingtian asked calmly as he glanced at Dong Guizhi. When Dong Guizhi heard Duan Lingtian's words, he was so frightened that his body trembled violently. His head shook like a rattled drum as he waved his hand frantically. No. What a joke. Even his backer, Wang Dingshan, had been killed. How could he dare to question Duan Lingtian's words? Even if he still had doubts in his heart, there was no way he would voice them out. After a moment of panic, Dong Guizhi took a deep breath to calm his rapid breathing. Then, he did not dare to slack off and swore on the lightning penalty oath according to Duan Lingtian's request. 9 waves of thunder boomed in response to Dong Guizhi's oath. Whoosh! As soon as the 9 waves of thunder boomed in the air, Duan Lingtian's body moved. It was as though he had transformed into a bolt of black lightning as he made his way to the north. He did not forget the purpose of his journey to the north. The entrance to the treasure vault that was suspected to be left behind by a powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage. Dong Guizhi and the other two heaved a sigh of relief when they saw Duan Lingtian's silhouette disappearing from their sight. They looked at each other and saw the bitterness in each other's eyes. Duan Lingtian was unaware of this. Just as he was about to enter the treasure vault that was suspected to be left behind by a powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage, in the distant northern region, on a snow-capped mountain, the successors of the other 6 absolutes of the 7 absolute sect, excluding the absolute Yinyu, had gathered together. There were 7 people, both men and women. They were sitting cross-legged on a stone platform halfway up the snowy peak. The stone platform they were sitting on was engraved with some dense and complicated patterns, which unknowingly revealed waves of vicissitudes of life. An old man and a beautiful woman hovered in the air above the stone platform as they looked up at the sky. Chapter 21-29. Old Man Prophet. Suddenly, the beautiful woman looked at the old man standing nearby and asked with a frown, "Are you sure the 3 little fellows will be fine? You must know you can fool Xuan-I for now, but you won't be able to fool her forever." Based on how the beautiful woman addressed the old man, it was clear the old man was the oracle man from the prophet progeny of the 7 Absolutes sect. As for the beautiful woman, she was the successor of the red dust progeny of the 7 Absolutes sect. Naturally, both of them could only be considered as the previous successors of the prophet progeny and the red dust progeny. The current stage belonged to their direct disciples, the successors of the prophet progeny and the red dust progeny respectively. "I'm not sure yet." Upon hearing the beautiful woman's words, the oracle man regained his senses and shook his head. His expression was solemn. If others were to see this scene, they would definitely turn pale with fright. The oracle man, who was known for being omniscient, actually had times when he was unsure of something? "What do you mean you're not sure yet? Don't tell me you were certain before this?" The beautiful woman said with a hint of dissatisfaction. It was obvious she was dissatisfied with the oracle man's answer. Ever since the inter-province transportation formation in the upper province lost its effectiveness and couldn't send people to the lower province, I've tried to divine the fate of the 3 little fellows. However, I discovered their fates are shrouded in mystery. The oracle man said, "Currently, most of the devil clans have descended to the lower province, and the human-devil era is gradually returning to the world. The devil clan's arrival has disrupted the heavenly secrets. It's normal that I can't divine their fates anymore. However, before they left the upper province, I divined that they would encounter a fortuitous encounter when they returned to the lower province. At that time, I couldn't quite see through the fortuitous encounter. Now that I think about it, the part that I couldn't see through was the omen of danger. Initially, I was wondering what kind of fortuitous encounter they had in the lower province. However, it seems like their fortuitous encounter came from the devil clans that came to the Tao Martial Saint land from the land of exile." The old man Tianji smiled bitterly. If I had another chance, I wouldn't have asked Shadowless to send them away. Now, they can only rely on themselves. You mean, you won't be able to tell whether they will live or die in the future? The beautiful woman's expression changed as she asked in a deep voice. Her tone had also become slightly stern. That's right. The elder of heavenly secrets nodded solemnly. The beautiful woman's face darkened, and she was about to say something. It's time. Suddenly, the oracle man raised his head again and looked at the sky. His eyes were like lightning. In the next moment, a sword appeared in his hand out of thin air. Compared to ordinary swords, this sword was much bigger. As the oracle man's Saint Origin surged out of his body and entered the sword, a crisp sound rang in the air. Then, 9 ribbons suddenly shot out from the sword and wrapped around the sword. The ribbons rose slowly like 9 ribbons in the sky. This is the 9-cloud sword. At the same time, the beautiful woman's eyes lit up when she saw the sword in the oracle man's hand. The 9-cloud sword was one of the 10 great saint weapons on the 10 great saint weapons ranking. Among the 10 great saint weapons on the 10 great saint weapons ranking, only 2 of them were swords. One of them was the traceless sword, and the other was the 9-cloud sword. Boom, boom, boom. As the deafening sound of thunder reverberated in the air, the 9-cloud sword in the oracle man's hand shot out a gigantic sword ray that shot up into the sky as though it was connecting heaven and earth. It traversed heaven and earth. The sword ray was surrounded by 9 streaks of light that looked like divine dragons. Each of the streaks of light seemed to contain unparalleled power. At the same time, the ancient and complicated patterns carved on the stone platform with 7 people sitting cross-legged on it seemed to have come to life as the energy from the 9-cloud sword merged with it. Almost as soon as the patterns on the stone platform came to life, a frightening aura, which seemed to be emitted from the body of a prehistoric giant beast, appeared out of nowhere and covered the entire snowy peak. It caused the pure white snow on the snowy peak to tremble and boil like boiling water. This is the 6 absolutes heaven-defying fate-changing grand formation? The beautiful woman who had retreated to the distance was horrified when she sensed the terrifying aura. When she looked at the 9-cloud sword in the oracle man's hand again, her eyes were filled with awe. Naturally, she was not in awe of the oracle man or the 9-cloud sword in the oracle man's hand. She was in awe of the person who forged the 9-cloud sword. That person was the former successor of the Fog Rain progeny in the 7 Absolute sect. He was the sword saint, Feng Qingyang. Currently, people thought the 10,000 inscriptions saint weapons, including the 9-cloud sword, were all created by the celestial grade saint inscription master. However, he did not know that only 9 of the 10,000 inscriptions saint weapons, which were the current 10 grade saint weapons, were created by the celestial grade saint inscription master. The reason the celestial grade saint inscription master could become a celestial grade saint inscription master was because he obtained the 9-cloud sword. That was how he managed to become a celestial grade saint inscription master and inscribe 10,000 inscription saint weapons. Apart from the 9-cloud sword, there were 9 other celestial grade saint weapons. Some of the celestial grade saint weapons even surpassed the 9-cloud sword, the first 10,000 inscriptions saint weapon in the history of the Dao Martial Saint Land. All of these were the secrets of the 7 Absolutes sect, and no one else knew about them. The 6 Absolutes heaven-defying fate-changing grand formation was a heaven-defying formation left behind by Sword Saint Feng Qingyang, the successor of the Fog Rain progeny in the 7 Absolute sect. In order to activate this heaven-defying formation, he had to rely on the 9-cloud sword that he used in the past to activate it. Back then, Feng Qingyang, the sword saint of the 7 Absolute sect, had left the 9-cloud sword behind for the 7 Absolutes sect before he ascended to the Devata realm. Later on, the people from the 7 Absolutes sect were killed by the 3 great sections. After some time, the 9-cloud sword was lost. It was also at that time that the first celestial grade saint inscription master in the Dao Martial Saint Land obtained the 9-cloud sword. After studying the 9-cloud sword, he managed to inscribe 9 other celestial grade saint weapons. Now, the 9-cloud sword that had been wandering outside for many years had been found by the old man of heavenly secrets. Due to this reason, he was able to set up the six absolutes heaven-defying fate-changing grand formation. An invisible force appeared out of thin air on the stone platform and swept up the seven people who were sitting cross-legged. Waves of mysterious energy surged into their bodies through the six absolutes heaven-defying fate-changing grand formation. It did not stop for a long time. At the same time, the white snow on the huge snowy peak continued to tremble. It was as though there were little dancers dancing gracefully on the snowy peak. On this day, the fates of the seven young people changed in a heaven-defying manner. Today, the seven young people with monstrous innate talent would be born from the snow-capped mountain in the northern region and shine in the Tao Martial Saint Land. In the northern region of Sin City, there are so many people. As they traveled north, Duan Ling Tian's gaze pierced through the clouds and mist below. He saw more and more people rushing north as though there was a free lunch in the north. It seems like the treasure vault that's suspected to be left behind by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage is really attractive. Duan Ling Tian knew the reason these people were making their way north. It was because of the treasure vault that was suspected to be left behind by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage. Naturally, he could understand why so many sectless cultivators gathered in Sin City. One of the reasons they gathered was because there was first-hand information about the treasure vault left behind by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage. Usually, the powerhouses at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage who left behind the treasure vault were sectless cultivators. People from the Black Crow Alliance? Soon after, Duan Lingtian's attention was attracted by a group of people who were making their way under the clouds. This was because the uniforms they were wearing were all too familiar. They were the uniforms of the Black Crow Alliance. A black-robed old man stood in front of the group of members of the Black Crow Alliance. The leader of the Black Crow Alliance, Old Black Crow? Duan Lingtian immediately guessed the black-robed old man's identity. 6 months ago, after Duan Lingtian killed Zhao Zhan, the deputy leader of the Black Crow Alliance, the members of the Black Crow Alliance no longer tried to take advantage of him in Sin City. It seemed as though the members of the Black Crow Alliance had become obedient overnight. Initially, Duan Lingtian had heard that the members of the Black Crow Alliance were so obedient because the leader of the Black Crow Alliance was away. Later on, he heard that the leader of the Black Crow Alliance had returned, but he did not look for trouble with Duan Lingtian. After the leader of the Black Crow Alliance returned, the members of the Black Crow Alliance no longer tried to take advantage of him in Sin City. In fact, it was rare to see any members of the Black Crow Alliance around. At that time, many people in Sin City said the leader of the Black Crow Alliance, Old Black Crow, was afraid of Duan Lingtian. Since the members of the Black Crow Alliance no longer tried to take advantage of him in Sin City, Duan Lingtian no longer targeted them. It seemed as though they had gotten along well overnight. For this reason, Duan Lingtian was infuriated. Since the members of the Black Crow Alliance were so obedient, how could he devour their innate spiritual roots? For this reason, he could only find other ways to devour other people's innate spiritual roots. During this time, he did not simply devour other people's innate spiritual roots. Those who were devoured by him were all sinners who deserved it. After all, he was a man of principle. Swoosh. Chapter 21:30. To the north of the city of Sin, a group of people had gathered in a mountain range. This group of people were currently surrounding a mountain valley. More precisely, it was the void in the sky above one of the valleys. A crack suddenly appeared in the void. The crack was long and ferocious, like a door that opened out of thin air. If one tried to peek through the crack to see what was inside, one would not be able to see anything. Is it really a treasure vault left behind by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage? Why do I feel a little nervous just looking at it? Among the mighty group of people, an inconspicuous middle-aged man looked at the ferocious crack in the air in front of him and said with a trembling voice, "I have the same feeling as well. This crack is floating in the void like a giant beast with its mouth wide open. It's as though it's waiting for someone to feed itself to it." Another person said with a fearful expression on his face, "Has there ever been such an entrance to a treasure vault left behind by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage?" Many people murmured. 100 years ago, I was lucky enough to enter a treasure vault left behind by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage and obtained some good stuff. However, the treasure vault left behind by the powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage is hidden underground. Although there are many formations set up inside, the entrance is very normal. It's not as strange as this crack in the void. An old man who seemed to be very old spoke with a fearful tone toward the spatial crack in front of him. Don't you think you're worrying too much? A middle-aged man suddenly said with a frown, Didn't you see the high-ranking officials from the Seven Kill Alliance, the Thousand Years Alliance, and the Eternal Alliance have all gone in? If there's danger behind the crack in the void, do you think they'll go in? Many people agreed with his words. That's right. The leaders of the three strongest alliances in Sin City and the high-ranking officials have all gone in. What's there to be afraid of? Since they've gone in, it means they won't encounter any danger, right? I think so too. More and more people chimed in, but none of them took the lead to go in. After all, the tear in the void seemed to be the entrance to the treasure vault left behind by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage. In the end, no one dared to say for sure. The unknown was the scariest. Everyone understood this logic. Because of this, although a group of people had gathered here, no one went in. Although the treasures in the treasure vault left behind by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage were tempting, it was undoubtedly more important than his own life. It didn't matter if he didn't get the treasure, but if he lost his life, then he would have nothing left. Hey, since you said that we're worried for nothing, why don't you go in and try? As long as you go in, I will go in with you. What do you think? Suddenly, a young man stood out and looked at the middle-aged man who'd said everyone was worrying for nothing. As soon as he said that, everyone's eyes fell on the middle-aged man. That's right. Since you say that we are worried for nothing, if you have the ability, why don't you take the lead and give it a try? Come on. What are you hesitating for? Didn't you say there was no danger inside? That's right. Didn't you say that all the high-ranking officials from the three strongest alliances in Sin City have gone in? That's why there's no danger inside. Why aren't you going in? Don't tell me you don't have the guts. If you don't have the guts, why did you say those words earlier? Aren't you just slapping yourself in the face? Everyone's words were directed at the middle-aged man who had spoken arrogantly earlier. Faced with the crusade from the group of people, the middle-aged man's complexion alternated between green and white. He had deliberately said those words earlier in order to allow others to enter and explore the path ahead of him. Up until now, only the high-ranking officials from the three strongest alliances in Sin City had managed to enter the treasure vault left behind by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage. The other people from the Seckless Cultivator Alliance and a group of unaffiliated Seckless cultivators had yet to enter the treasure vault. In the end, the middle-aged man did not take the lead and enter the tear in the void despite being ridiculed by the crowd. Although it did not feel good to be ridiculed, it was nothing compared to his own life. Black-robed man. All of a sudden, a cry rang in the air, alerting the people in the surroundings of the tear in the void. The crowd no longer mocked the middle-aged man. Instead, they looked in the direction of the person who had cried out and looked at the sky nearby. A figure could be seen flying through the clouds and descending from the sky. This person was completely shrouded in a wide black robe with a hood. His entire person was completely hidden, and even his face could not be seen clearly. I wonder if he's the real black-robed man? Many people voiced their doubts. If he's the real black-robed man, I wonder if he dares to enter the tear in the void? There were also some people who said so. The black-robed man who had appeared outside the tear in the void was, naturally, Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian had been here for quite some time. He had overheard the discussions of the crowd and learned that the high-ranking officials from the Seven Kill Alliance, the Thousand Years Alliance, and the Eternal Alliance had entered the treasure vault that was suspected to be left behind by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage. The group of people who remained here did not dare to enter because they were unsure if the tear in the void was the entrance to the treasure vault left behind by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage. Why are you so afraid of death? Why are you still here? Duan Lingtian was rendered speechless by this. Before Duan Lingtian appeared, He had asked Hualao for help. This is a tear in the void. We should be able to enter a pseudo-realm after passing through it. This was Hualao's answer. Duan Lingtian was, naturally, taken aback by this answer. He quickly asked Hualao, Hualao, I remember you said the upper province of the Dao Martial Saint Land is also a pseudo-realm? Yes. Hualao quickly replied, the upper province of the Dao Martial Saint Land is a naturally formed pseudo-realm. However, the pseudo-realm behind this tear in the void is a spatial realm created by someone. In the mundane realms, those who have successfully passed the heavenly tribulation will have their energy transformed. Although it hasn't completely transformed into celestial origin energy, it's easy for them to create an independent realm in the mundane realms. In other words, it's a pseudo-realm that's created by humans. Therefore, the pseudo-realm behind this tear in the void is indeed left behind by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage who had successfully passed the heavenly tribulation. As for the pseudo-realm behind it, it's hard to say if it's a treasure vault left behind by that powerhouse. However, there's a high chance that the pseudo-realm behind it is a treasure vault left behind by that powerhouse. After all, even powerhouses who had successfully passed the heavenly tribulation and were about to ascend to the Devata realm would have to put in a lot of effort to create a pseudo-realm. Generally speaking, a place like this would contain the person's legacy and some treasures in the mundane realms, Duan Ling Tian explained. These were Hualao's exact words. After listening to Hualao's words, Duan Ling Tian flew through the clouds and descended from the sky. He was about to enter the spatial tear in the void that Hualao had mentioned. Duan Ling Tian had learned something important from Hualao. The powerhouse who had left behind this pseudo-realm was not an ordinary powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage, but a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage who had successfully passed the heavenly tribulation. After all, a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage who had not passed the heavenly tribulation was completely different from a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage who had successfully passed the heavenly tribulation. The former's cultivation base was only close to that of a powerful celestial. The latter, on the other hand, was half a celestial. A pseudo-realm created by such a powerhouse would most likely contain the treasures he had left behind before he ascended to the Devata realm. The treasure vault would definitely contain the inheritance and various treasures he had left behind. Do you think he dares to enter the spatial tear in the void? It's hard to say. Even if he's the real black-robed man, he might not dare to enter the spatial tear in the void. I agree. Didn't you see that even the leader of the mighty tyrannical alliance and the other high-ranking officials didn't enter the spatial tear in the void? How could a black-robed man be more courageous than the leader of the mighty tyrannical alliance? The discussion of a group of people entered into Duan Ling Tian's ears. Most of them were doubting his identity as the black-robed man. Many of them were discussing if he dared to enter the spatial tear in the void. The leader of the mighty tyrannical alliance? When Duan Ling Tian heard these people's words, he immediately followed their gazes and looked into the distance. There was a group of people gathered there. The person in the lead was a tall and muscular man with a curly beard. He was dressed in a brocade robe, and he had a dignified aura about him. With just a glance, one could tell he was someone who had been in a high position for a long time. He's Chen Xianba, the leader of the mighty tyrannical alliance? Duan Ling Tian thought to himself. Chen Xianba, the leader of the mighty tyrannical alliance, was a powerhouse at the fifth form of the Saint Celestial stage. He was ranked in the top 50 on the Supreme Saint ranking. Apart from that, the mighty tyrannical alliance was also a powerful alliance of sectless cultivators in Sin City. It was only second to the Seven Kill Alliance, the Thousand Years Alliance, and the Eternal Alliance. Duan Ling Tian still remembered Chen Xianba. Chapter 2131. When Duan Ling Tian was sizing up Chen Xianba, the leader of the mighty tyrannical alliance, he seemed to have noticed Duan Ling Tian's gaze and turned to look at him. Lord Leader. When Chen Xianba looked at Duan Ling Tian, the people behind Chen Xianba noticed as well. One of them said, the black-robed man who has been making waves in Sin City recently is dressed like him. He paused for a moment before he continued to say, however, there are many people in Sin City who like to impersonate him. Therefore, We can't be sure if he's the real black-robed man or not." "It's true," Chen Xianba replied when he heard the person behind him. The high-ranking officials from the mighty tyrannical alliance looked at each other in confusion when they heard Chen Xianba's words. They could not figure it out. How could the leader of the mighty tyrannical alliance be certain the black-robed man was the real black-robed man with just a glance? If they did not know their leader was a serious person, they would have thought he was joking. "Lord Leader, how do you know he's the real black-robed man?" How? How did you know?" An old man standing behind Chen Xianba asked. This ordinary-looking old man was one of the 3 vice leaders of the mighty tyrannical alliance. He was the strongest person in the mighty tyrannical alliance who was second only to Chen Xianba. His cultivation base was at the 4th form of the Saint Celestial stage a long time ago. He was a powerhouse at the 4th form of the Saint Celestial stage. Elder Wang Dingshan from the Thousand Years Alliance, who had been killed by Duan Lingtian, could not compare to him. Although Wang Dingshan was also a powerhouse at the 4th form of the Saint Celestial stage, he was ranked below the 150th place on the Supreme Saint ranking. He was ranked at the bottom among powerhouses at the 4th form of the Saint Celestial stage. However, the vice leader of the mighty tyrannical alliance was ranked in the top 100 on the Supreme Saint ranking. He could be considered as one of the strongest powerhouses at the 4th form of the Saint Celestial stage in the Tao Martial Saint land. The name of the vice leader of the mighty tyrannical alliance was as ordinary as his appearance. Sun Hua. Intuition. When the high-ranking officials from the mighty tyrannical alliance, including Sun Hua, turned to look at Chen Xianba, in unison, calmly replied to them. Intuition? Hearing this answer, Sun Hua and the others were dumbfounded. If they hadn't heard it with their own ears, it would have been hard for them to believe that this was something their alliance master had said. In fact, Chen Xuanba had a strong intuition. The black-robed man in front of him was most likely the black-robed man who had recently become famous in Sin City. In Sin City, almost everyone knew about the existence of the black-robed man. However, the reason why he was famous was not because of his bad reputation, but because of his good reputation. Over the past 6 months, he had killed at least 800 if not 1,000 people in Sin City. However, none of the people who died in his hands were good people. Among those people, there were those who liked to take advantage of the situation to kill and take advantage of others. There were also those who were extremely vicious and evil, and there were even those who cultivated cruel devil arts. All in all, in just half a year, due to the appearance of the black-robed man, the order in Sin City had improved a lot. It was as if Sin City had been changed by him overnight. In the city of Sin, there were even people who called the black-robed man the guardian of order. It sounded like a joke, but it was the truth. Whoosh! As though a gust of wind had blown past Duan Lingtian, a figure appeared in front of him just as he was about to enter the tear in the void. Duan Lingtian came to a halt and looked at the person who had appeared. It's the Alliance Master of the mighty tyrannical alliance. Just as Duan Lingtian was looking at the person in front of him, the person's appearance attracted everyone's attention. The person was none other than the Alliance Master of the mighty tyrannical alliance, Qin Xuanba. Mr. Blackrobe, it's an honor to meet you. When Qin Xuanba appeared in front of Duan Lingtian, he greeted him politely. He did not put on any airs that the Alliance Master of the mighty tyrannical alliance should have. Alliance Master Chun. As the saying went, one does not hit a smiling person. Since Chen Xuanba was so polite, Duan Lingtian naturally did not disrespect him. Mr. Blackrobe, I've long heard about your strength and achievements. I wonder if Mr. Blackrobe is interested in joining our mighty tyrannical alliance? If Mr. Blackrobe is willing to join us, you'll be the 4th Vice Alliance Master of the mighty tyrannical alliance. Chen Xuanba said to Duan Lingtian with a serious expression on his face. His tone was very polite. Upon hearing Chen Xuanba's words, Duan Lingtian was stunned. He did not expect this at all. While the others were still doubting his identity, not only did the Alliance Master of the mighty tyrannical alliance not doubt him, but he even came forward to greet him politely. However, that was not all. After greeting him politely, the Alliance Master of the mighty tyrannical alliance actually invited him to join the mighty tyrannical alliance. Moreover, he even promised that if he joined the mighty tyrannical alliance, he would respect him as the 4th Vice Alliance Master of the mighty tyrannical alliance. When Duan Lingtian was stunned by Chen Xuanba's words, the entire place fell silent. The high-ranking officials from the mighty tyrannical alliance were not the only ones who were shocked. Even the others present on the scene widened their eyes in shock. They could not believe what they had just heard. What? What's going on? Don't tell me. Don't tell me he's really the black-robed man? Otherwise, why would the alliance master of the mighty tyrannical alliance, Lord Chen Xuanba, invite him to join the mighty tyrannical alliance, and even make him the fourth vice-alliance master of the mighty tyrannical alliance? Don't tell me Lord Chen Xuanba knows him from the beginning? Did he recognize him? Stop joking. This black-robed man has always been wearing a black robe to hide his identity. Moreover, he has intentionally concealed his aura. Who would recognize him? What's going on then? Lord Chen Xuanba can't be joking, right? I don't know about that. After the crowd recovered from their shock, they began to discuss among themselves again. They only felt that the scene in front of them was unfathomable. In fact, they were not the only ones who could not understand what was going on. At this moment, the high-ranking officials from the mighty tyrannical alliance were the ones whose emotions were the greatest. When they heard the alliance master of the mighty tyrannical alliance mention his intuition earlier, they were already in disbelief. They even thought their alliance master was joking. Who knew their alliance master was not joking? If their alliance master was joking, why would their alliance master look for this black-robed man and invite him to join the mighty tyrannical alliance and make him the fourth vice-alliance master of the mighty tyrannical alliance? After all, not everyone could become the vice-alliance master of the mighty tyrannical alliance. Take the 3 vice-alliance masters of the mighty tyrannical alliance as an example. All of them were at the 4th form of the Saint Celestial stage. Without a cultivation base at the 4th form of the Saint Celestial stage, it was almost impossible for one to become a vice-alliance master of the mighty tyrannical alliance. Don't tell me he's really the black-robed man? If he's really the black-robed man, it's understandable why Lord Alliance Master invited him to join the mighty tyrannical alliance and made him a vice-alliance master. I still don't understand. How did Lord Alliance Master recognize him? The high-ranking officials from the mighty tyrannical alliance gathered together and whispered among themselves. They could not figure it out. In the next moment, Duan Lingtian was about to reject Chen Xuanba, the leader of the mighty tyrannical alliance, when Duan Lingtian suddenly burst into laughter. Ha 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 ha! A burst of unbridled laughter rang in the air. It was so sudden that it interrupted Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian instinctively turned to look at the source of the laughter. He saw a black-clad young man with a medium build and a sinister appearance. He exuded a cold aura as he brought a group of people with him. Wherever he and the group of people behind him passed, the surrounding people would make way for them one after another. It was as though these people were the god of plague. The unbridled laughter came from the black-clothed young man. After a while, the black-clad young man brought his group of people closer to Duan Lingtian and Chen Xuanba. He ignored Duan Lingtian and looked at Chen Xuanba instead. He said mockingly, "Alliance Master Chen, aren't you worried he's a fake? You're so rash to invite this black-robed man to join the mighty tyrannical alliance and become the vice-alliance master of the mighty tyrannical alliance? As far as I know, there are many black-robed men in Sin City who pretend to be black-robed men." The smile on the black-clad young man's face grew wider and wider as he spoke. It was as though he was the smartest person in the world. The leader of the 100 Ghosts Alliance, In Xianming? At the same time, Duan Lingtian heard the whispers in the surroundings. He instantly learned the black-clad young man's identity. The leader of the 100 Ghosts Alliance. The 100 Ghosts Alliance is a famous alliance of sectless cultivators in Sin City. Their strength is on par with the mighty tyrannical alliance. Moreover, I've long heard that the 100 Ghosts Alliance and the mighty tyrannical alliance don't get along. It seems like it's true, Duan Lingtian thought to himself. In Xianming, it's not up to you to tell me what to do. Chen Xuanba frowned and waved his hand impatiently. If you want to enter the treasure vault that's suspected to be left behind by a powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage, then go in. If you don't want to enter, then step aside and don't disturb me and Mr. Black Robe. Mr. Black Robe? In Xianming was not angry when he heard Chen Xuanba's words. Instead, he shifted his gaze to Duan Lingtian. In Xianming narrowed his eyes and said indifferently, I'd like to see if you're the real black-robed man or not. Pure martial. Ming raised an eyebrow as he spat out 2 words. Lord Alliance Leader. Suddenly, a short but strong young man stepped out from behind Ming. The young man exuded a cold aura that made people feel as though they had fallen into an ice cave. Alliance Leader Chen, if my people find out that he's not the real black-robed man, I'm afraid you'll be humiliated today. Chapter 2132. At this moment, the people present on the scene finally understood why Ming, the leader of the 100 Ghosts Alliance, had interfered. As it turned out, he wanted to embarrass Chen Xianba, the leader of the mighty tyrannical alliance. I've long heard that the 100 Ghosts Alliance and the mighty tyrannical alliance don't get along. I've witnessed it today, a middle-aged man said with a sigh. The 100 Ghosts Alliance and the mighty tyrannical alliance are notorious rivals in Sin City. If it wasn't for the fact that they're afraid of being watched by other sectless cultivators, they would have fought to the death long ago. An old man said. However, the leader of the 100 Ghosts Alliance is really cunning. It won't affect him even if he finds out the black-robed man is the real black-robed man. However, if he finds out the black-robed man is a fake, the leader of the mighty tyrannical alliance will be humiliated. It was unknown who said this in a soft voice. His words also received the approval of the others. At the same time, the group of onlookers watched the scene with great interest. The young man who had walked out from behind Ming, the leader of the 100 Ghosts Alliance, was standing opposite the black-robed man. A battle was about to break out. Earlier, I heard the leader of the 100 Ghosts Alliance address this person as Chun Wu. Don't tell me he's the first elder of the 100 Ghosts Alliance? Suddenly, someone exclaimed, and it caused many people to recover from their shock. The first elder of the 100 Ghosts Alliance? I remember now. The first elder of the 100 Ghosts Alliance is called Yu Chun Wu. It must be him. It's said that Yu Chun Wu, the first elder of the 100 Ghosts Alliance, has a cultivation base at the 3rd form of the Saint Celestial stage. Moreover, he's ranked in the top 200 of the Supreme Saint ranking. He's ranked in the top 200 of the Supreme Saint ranking with a cultivation base at the 3rd form of the Saint Celestial stage. With such strength, he can be considered as one of the strongest powerhouses at the 3rd form of the Saint Celestial stage in the Dao Martial Saint Land. That's right. Not many powerhouses at the 3rd form of the Saint Celestial stage are a match for him. After recognizing the identity of the person who was confronting Duan Lingtian, the crowd of onlookers broke out into an uproar again. They were shocked by the generosity of Ming, the leader of the 100 Ghosts Alliance. Yu Chuanwu, the first elder of the 100 Ghosts Alliance, had made the first move right from the start. For the first elder of the 100 Ghosts Alliance to make a move, don't say that this black-robed man might not be the real black-robed man. Even if he is the real black-robed man, he may not be a match for him. Soon, someone else said, that's right. Currently, there were rumors in Sin City that the black-robed man's strength was at the 3rd form of the Saint Celestial stage at most. They're both at the 3rd form of the Saint Celestial stage, but he might not be a match for the first elder of the 100 Ghosts Alliance. Of course, the first elder of the 100 Ghosts Alliance, Yu Chun Wu, is a powerhouse at the 3rd form of the Saint Celestial stage who's ranked in the top 200 on the Supreme Saint ranking. He's not someone ordinary powerhouses at the 3rd form of the Saint Celestial stage can compare to. Just as there was a commotion around the spatial rift, above the clouds in the sky, 3 figures arrived together, one after the other. At the same time, their gazes pierced through the clouds and saw the situation below. The first elder of the 100 Ghosts Alliance? One of them could not help but have a mocking smile on his face after he understood what had happened below. Someone like him dares to act arrogantly in front of this fiend? A hint of dread could be seen in the depths of this person's eyes when he said the words Malefic Star. It was a dread that came from his soul. If Duan Lingtian was here, he would be able to recognize the person with just a glance. This person was none other than O Qing, the young leader of the 7 Kill Alliance. Lu Jin, the elder of the 7 Kill Alliance, and Dong Guizhi, the young leader of the 1,000 Years Alliance, had arrived with O Qing. When both of them saw the black-robed man through the clouds, A hint of dread could be seen in their eyes. At the same time, they felt sorry for the ignorant fellow. This fellow was most likely unaware that the person standing in front of him had just killed a powerhouse at the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage. More and more people began to gather under the clouds. The extra people were naturally those who had just rushed over from Sin City. Among them were people from the Black Crow Alliance. Lord Alliance Leader, it's the black-robed man. When the people from the Black Crow Alliance arrived, someone behind Black Crow Old Man, the leader of the Black Crow Alliance, reminded him. I see him. Black Crow Old Man's expression darkened as he looked at the black-robed man. Like the others, he was uncertain if the person before him was the real black-robed man. If the person before him was the real black-robed man, he would be the mortal enemy of the Black Crow Alliance. Previously, when he had just returned from outside, he was furious when he learned that the black-robed man had killed so many people from the Black Crow Alliance. However, since he was not certain if he was a match for the black-robed man, and he was confident that he would be able to make a breakthrough in his cultivation base in a few years, he chose to swallow his anger for the time being. Apart from that, he told the other members of the Black Crow Alliance to stay away from the Black Crow Alliance. The day he broke through to the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage would be the day the black-robed man died. This was the reason why he had been cultivating so hard recently. It's actually Yu Chun-Wu, the first elder of the 100 Ghosts Alliance. I hope he's the real black-robed man. If that's the case, I won't have to kill him myself. Even the real black-robed man might not be a match for the first elder of the 100 Ghosts Alliance. Black Crow Old Man's eyes lit up when he saw the black-robed man. He prayed inwardly. He hoped that the black-robed man before him was the real black-robed man and not a fake. Although he was confident that he would be able to break through to the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage in a few years, it did not mean he was as strong as before. Even if he had broken through to the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage, he still would not be a match for Yu Chun-Wu. Apart from one's cultivation base, a powerhouse at the third form of the Saint Celestial stage had to rely on various martial tactics, divine abilities, saint weapons, Dao talismans, and pills to strengthen their strength. As for the black-robed man's strength, Black Crow Old Man was certain the black-robed man was a powerhouse at the third form of the Saint Celestial stage, just like him. However, he might not be a match for the black-robed man. Since Yu Chun-Wu, the first elder of the 100 Ghosts Alliance, was ranked in the top 200 of the Supreme Saint ranking, it was only natural that he would be stronger than the black-robed man. For this reason, Black Crow Old Man prayed that the black-robed man before him was the real black-robed man. It doesn't matter if you're the real black-robed man or not. You'll definitely die today in front of me, Yu Chun-Wu. Yu Chun-Wu, the first elder of the 100 Ghosts Alliance, who was standing opposite Duan Lingtian, said at the same time. The moment he spoke, he was extremely arrogant. His words caused the onlookers to fall silent. They shifted their attention back to the battlefield to see how the situation would develop. Alliance Leader Chen, I appreciate your kindness. However, I'm used to living a carefree life. I'm not used to joining the mighty tyrannical alliance. Under the watchful eyes of the others, Duan Lingtian completely ignored the arrogant Yu Chun-Wu. He looked at Chen Xianba, the leader of the mighty tyrannical alliance, and rejected Chen Xianba's kindness. Faced with Duan Lingtian's blatant disregard, Yu Chun-Wu's expression turned grave. The crowd of onlookers was also stunned. Could this black-robed man really be the real black-robed man? Otherwise, how could he be so calm when he faced Yu Chun-Wu? Moreover, he had completely ignored Yu Chun-Wu. If that's the case, it's a pity. When Chen Xianba heard Duan Lingtian's words, he could not help but sigh. Then, he glanced at Yu Chun-Wu, who was standing opposite Duan Lingtian, and said, however, since I'm the cause of Mr. Blackrobe's trouble, I'll be the one to solve it. As soon as Chen Xianba finished speaking, horror dawned on Yu Chun-Wu, who was about to attack Duan Lingtian. He immediately dismissed the thought of attacking. His eyes were filled with dread. Humph! In Xianming, the leader of the 100 Ghosts Alliance, stepped forward and appeared in front of Chen Xianba at lightning speed. He blocked Chen Xianba's path and said, Alliance Leader Chen, he's not a member of the mighty tyrannical alliance. It's best if you don't interfere in this matter. Based on Duan Lingtian's performance, In Xianming had a feeling Duan Lingtian might be the real black-robed man. However, he did not think Duan Lingtian was a match for Yu Chunwu, the first elder of the Hundred Ghosts Alliance. For this reason, not only did he not intervene in time, but he even blocked Yu Chunwu's path so Yu Chunwu could make his move. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The high-ranking officials of the Hundred Ghosts Alliance also flew behind In Xianming to cheer for him. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The high-ranking officials of the mighty tyrannical alliance did not want to be left behind. They stood behind Qin Xianba as well. The high-ranking officials of the Hundred Ghosts Alliance and the mighty tyrannical alliance faced each other. The situation was tense, and a fight could break out at any moment. Just as the crowd held their breaths and the atmosphere became incomparably tense, a voice rang out from behind them. Alliance leader Qin, you're too kind. He's just a clown. There's no need for you to personally deal with him, Alliance leader Qin. Duan Lingtian said nonchalantly. His voice was not loud, but it broke the tension in the air. It was as though a huge rock had fallen on a calm surface of water, causing ripples to form on the surface of the water. A clown? This black-robed man actually called the first elder of the Hundred Ghosts Alliance a clown? It seems like he's the real black-robed man. Only the real black-robed man would dare to be so arrogant. I also think he's the real black-robed man. However, even if he's the real black-robed man, do you think he's a match for Yu Chunwu, the first elder of the Hundred Ghosts Alliance? Chapter 21:33. Chun Xinba and the others were shocked by Duan Lingtian's arrogance. A clown? Yu Chunwu, the first elder of the Hundred Ghosts Alliance, was enraged when he heard Duan Lingtian's way of addressing him. His eyes widened so much that it seemed as though they would burst into flames at any moment. You're seeking death. Following that, Yu Chunwu roared as he moved with the wind. His saint origin surged as he seemed to have transformed into a bolt of lightning that swept across the sky toward Duan Lingtian. Swoosh! In just a blink of an eye, Yu Chunwu arrived in front of Duan Lingtian. He was only a few feet away from Duan Lingtian. Just as everyone was watching the situation unfold, a voice rang out from behind them. Perfect timing, Duan Lingtian thought to himself. Then, he immediately made his move. He swept his right hand horizontally, and the hem of his sleeve flapped out. It was as though there was a gust of wind. Wherever it passed, the sound of wind whistling could be heard. Universe teleportation. As Duan Lingtian muttered to himself, the celestial supreme treasure, the universe ruler, that had been hidden under his sleeve for a long time unleashed its divine ability. In just an instant, with Duan Lingtian at the center, the void distorted and folded. It was as though an invisible force had appeared out of thin air, causing the void to tremble. It was as though the calm surface of a lake was shattered by a falling rock. The distorted and folded void enveloped Yu Chunwu, who was only a few feet away from Duan Lingtian. What kind of technique is this? Yu Chunwu felt dizzy when he felt the invisible force lifting him up. He could not help but panic. For a moment, he even forgot to circulate his energy to resist. This was destined to be his last thought before he died. Buzz. A sound similar to the sound of a saber rang in the air. Duan Lingtian had mobilized the remaining Sun Saint origin in his body and used the universe ruler to split Yu Chunwu's body into two. In the next moment, as he put Yu Chunwu's spatial ring away, he began to devour Yu Chunwu's innate spiritual root. What's going on? At the same time, the group of people outside looked at the distorted and folded void in front of them in shock. They had no idea what was going on. Even the high-ranking officials from the mighty tyrannical alliance and the Hundred Ghost Alliance, including Qian Xianba and In Xianming, could not help but frown as they looked at the distorted and folded space in front of them. Not only had they never seen such a divine ability before, they had never even heard of it before. At this moment, they all held their breaths. Is this a divine ability? Many people were puzzled. This is indeed a divine ability. Furthermore, it's a very powerful divine ability, unique to the black-robed man. Among the people present, there were also people who had seen Duan Lingtian use the celestial supreme treasure, the universe ruler, to cast the universe teleportation. Now that they saw the scene before them, they could not help but cry out in surprise. I was fortunate enough to see the black-robed man cast this divine ability before. Since he's able to cast this divine ability, it means he's the black-robed man. He's the real black-robed man. He's the real black-robed man. He's not a fake. More and more people who had seen Duan Ling Tian cast the universe teleportation before stepped forward. Their faces were filled with excitement as they discussed among themselves. Based on what I know, every time the black-robed man casts this divine ability, his opponent usually dies after the distortion and folding effect of the divine ability fades away. Indeed, I wonder if it'll be an exception this time. After all, his opponent this time is not an ordinary person. It's Yu Chun Wu, the first elder of the 100 Ghost Alliance. He's ranked in the top 200 of the Supreme Saint ranking. It's hard to say. Many people who had seen Duan Ling Tian cast the universe teleportation told them about what they had seen. It made them realize how terrifying the divine ability Duan Ling Tian cast was. Although they had never seen Duan Ling Tian leave anyone alive when he cast this divine ability in the past, they were not certain he would be able to do the same this time. After all, Duan Ling Tian's opponent this time was not an ordinary person. He could not be compared to the Tom, Dick, and Harry that he had killed in the past. However, the crowd did not expect this at all. The divine ability, the universal teleportation, that Duan Ling Tian cast with the help of the celestial supreme treasure, the universe ruler, was extraordinary, but it did not have much destructive power. At the very most, it could only create some illusions. Naturally, to Duan Ling Tian, the biggest benefit of the universe teleportation was that it could block other people's vision. After all, to hide his identity as Duan Ling Tian, it was inconvenient for him to cast the 10,000 Swords territory, since many people from the Zoroastrianism had seen him cast the 10,000 Swords territory. Is he really the black-robed man? The eyes of Old Black Crow, the leader of the Black Crow Alliance, lit up when he found out the black-robed man was the real black-robed man. He looked at the distorted and folded space in the distance with anticipation. At the same time, he began to pray in his heart. Elder Yu, with your strength, you'll definitely be able to kill him. I believe in you. Old Black Crow prayed again and again in his heart. As long as Yu Chun Wu killed the black-robed man, he would indirectly avenge the Black Crow Alliance. From then on, the Black Crow Alliance would no longer have to be a coward. If the black-robed man was killed, the Black Crow Alliance would be able to take advantage of the situation in Sin City. For this reason, apart from Old Black Crow, the other members of the Black Crow Alliance were also praying that the black-robed man would be killed by Yu Chun Wu, the first elder of the 100 Ghosts Alliance. If one were to ask who was the calmest among the people present, it would be the three people who were hidden above the clouds. They were O Qing, the young leader of the 7 Kill Alliance, Lu Jin, and Dong Guizhi, the young leader of the 1,000 Years Alliance. The three of them had witnessed Duan Ling Tian killing Wang Ding Shan, an elder from the 1,000 Years Alliance whose cultivation base was at the 4th form of the Saint Celestial stage. Naturally, they did not think Yu Chun Wu was a match for Duan Ling Tian. Although Yu Chun Wu's strength was at the peak of the 3rd form of the Saint Celestial stage, he was still no match for Wang Ding Shan, who was at the 4th form of the Saint Celestial stage. How could he be a match for the black-robed man when Wang Ding Shan had been killed by the black-robed man? As expected. Soon after, O Qing, Lu Jin, and Dong Guizhi saw through the clouds that the distorted and folded space had calmed down. Two figures who were originally hidden in the clouds could be seen. One of them was unharmed. The other person's body was severed into two. He was as dead as a doornail. The person who was unharmed was, naturally, Duan Ling Tian, the black-robed man in the eyes of O Qing, Dong Guizhi, and Dong Guizhi. O Qing, Dong Guizhi, and Dong Guizhi had expected this, so they were not surprised. However, just because they were not surprised, it did not mean the others were not surprised as well. When the distorted and folded space calmed down, the surroundings were deathly silent. Everyone, including the upper echelons of the mighty Tyrannical Alliance and the 100 Ghost Alliance, looked at the scene in front of them with shock and disbelief. In just a few breaths' time, the black-robed man had cast his divine ability. Yu Chun Wu, the first elder of the 100 Ghosts Alliance, had died? His body was severed into two? On the other hand, the black-robed man was unharmed? How powerful was he? The fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage? Or even stronger? This was the thought that appeared in most of the people's minds. It lingered in their minds for a long time. Gasp, 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 gasp. When some of the people regained their senses, the sound of people inhaling sharply rang in the air around the tear in the sky. It was like a wave that came one after another. It did not stop for a long time. Whoosh! While most of the people were still in shock, the sound of air being torn apart rang in the air, causing many people to regain their senses. When they regained their senses, they saw the black-robed man. It only took a few breaths' time for the black-robed man to kill the first elder of the 100 Ghosts Alliance. He was flying toward the tear in the sky. In the next moment, the tear in the sky that looked like the bloody mouth of a giant beast swallowed him. He went in. Is he not afraid of death? At this moment, the people present on the scene began to regain their senses. This was because Duan Tian's actions had further shocked them. He had just killed the first elder of the 100 Ghosts Alliance, and he had entered the tear in the sky without any hesitation. Many people admired such a person from the bottom of their hearts. It was Duan Tian's best choice to enter the tear in the sky before everyone regained their senses. This was because the Sun Saint origin in his body was almost depleted. If the people from the 100 Ghosts Alliance made a move, even if they were just ordinary elders, Duan Tian would not be a match for them since he would need some time to recover his Sun Saint origin. Previously, when he used the Celestial Supreme Treasure, the Jasper Celestial Sword, to kill Elder Wang Dingshan from the 1,000 Years Alliance, he had exhausted most of his Sun Saint origin. Until now, he had not recovered much of it. Earlier, when he killed Yu Chunwu, the first elder of the 100 Ghosts Alliance, he had exhausted most of his Sun Saint origin, causing him to be like an arrow at the end of its flight. For the sake of his own safety, before the high-ranking officials from the 100 Ghosts Alliance regained their senses, Duan Tian mobilized the remaining Sun Saint origin in his body and entered the tear in the sky. He entered the pseudo-realm left behind by the powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage, who had passed the heavenly tribulation. Duan Tian had no idea what was beyond the pseudo-realm. However, he had no other choice but to enter the pseudo-realm. If he did not enter the pseudo-realm and stayed outside for too long, even the leader of the 100 Ghosts Alliance, Xin, would be able to tell he was an arrow at the end of its flight. Chapter 2134. Duan Tian had made the right choice at the most crucial moment. After entering the pseudo-realm, he was not worried about the people from the 100 Ghosts Alliance catching up to him. According to Hualao, once one entered the pseudo-realm, one would be teleported to a random location. In other words, unless 2 or more people passed through the Void Rift at the same time and entered the pseudo-plane, there would be no chance of that happening. Otherwise, they would not be teleported to the same location. Before the people from the 100 Ghosts Alliance could react, Duan Tian had already entered the pseudo-realm. Even if the people from the 100 Ghosts Alliance caught up to him, they would not be teleported to the same location in the pseudo-realm. Therefore, he was not worried about being killed by the people from the 100 Ghosts Alliance. Duan Tian's action of entering the pseudo-realm shocked the people outside again. The people outside were gathered because they could not muster up the courage to enter the pseudo-realm. They were worried there would be unknown dangers behind the pseudo-realm. After all, everyone only had one life. There was no second chance. Before they were certain their lives would not be in danger, they would not recklessly enter the pseudo-realm. Black-robed man. At the same time, Xin, the alliance leader of the 100 Ghosts Alliance, finally regained his senses. As soon as he regained his senses, he spat out these 3 words through gritted teeth. His voice was so cold that it made people feel as though they were in an eerie place. The high-ranking officials of the 100 Ghosts Alliance did not look too good either. Yu Chunwu was the first elder of the 100 Ghosts Alliance, and yet, he had died here. Not only did Yu Chunwu's death cause the 100 Ghosts Alliance to lose face in front of everyone, it even weakened the 100 Ghosts Alliance's overall strength to a certain extent. If the mighty tyrannical alliance dared to pay a huge price to fight the 100 Ghosts Alliance, the 100 Ghosts Alliance would be destroyed. Mr. Blackrobe is right. The first elder of the 100 Ghosts Alliance is just a clown. Chen Xinba, the leader of the mighty tyrannical alliance, laughed. Although there was a hint of pity in his eyes, he was in a good mood. The upper echelons of the mighty tyrannical alliance also laughed with pity in their eyes. The higher-ups of the mighty tyrannical alliance found it a pity that the black-robed man had refused to join the mighty tyrannical alliance and become their vice-leader. The strength that the black-robed man had just displayed made them realize he was fully qualified to be the vice-leader of the mighty tyrannical alliance. After a while, the people from the mighty tyrannical alliance looked at the people from the 100 Ghosts alliance with ridicule. Although they did not say anything, their gazes were sufficient to cause the people from the 100 Ghosts alliance to feel ashamed. This was especially true for Enchantment, the leader of the 100 Ghost alliance. Initially, he wanted to use Duan Lingtian to humiliate Chen Xianba, the leader of the mighty tyrannical alliance. However, he did not expect that not only did he fail, but he also lost one of his generals. As the first elder of the 100 Ghosts alliance, Yu Chunwu was the strongest person in the 100 Ghosts alliance other than himself and the 3 vice-leaders. Such a person had died here. His death was worthless. At least, that was how he saw it. Qin Xuanba, don't be so smug. You still have a long way to go. Yin Xianming felt even more ashamed when he sensed the gazes of the surrounding people. He took a deep breath and glared fiercely at Chen Xianba. After leaving behind these harsh words, he retreated to the side with the 100 Ghosts alliance. I'll be waiting, Chen Xuanba replied indifferently. He did not take Yin Xianming's words to heart at all. He was not afraid of the 100 Ghosts alliance in the past. Now that they had lost Yu Chunwu, he was even less afraid of the weakened 100 Ghosts alliance. Alliance leader Yin, you're really courageous. You actually dared to send an elder under your command to cause trouble for the black-robed man. When the people from the 100 Ghosts alliance and the mighty tyrannical alliance separated and the scene fell silent, an indifferent voice resonated from the sky and attracted everyone's attention. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, a pale-faced young man in brocade robes appeared in front of them. His footsteps were unsteady. A middle-aged man appeared at the same time. Young alliance leader. As soon as the young man dressed in brocade robes appeared, Yin Xianming, the leader of the 100 Ghosts alliance, and Chen Xuanba, the leader of the mighty tyrannical alliance, stepped forward and greeted him respectfully. The young man dressed in brocade robes was none other than Qing, the young alliance leader of the 7 Kill alliance. Under normal circumstances, a spoiled brat like Qing was not worthy of such treatment from the leaders of the 100 Ghosts alliance and the mighty tyrannical alliance. However, the 100 Ghosts alliance and the mighty tyrannical alliance were slightly special since they were sectless cultivators under the 7 Kill alliance. There were many sectless cultivators alliances in Sin City. However, there were only 3 sectless cultivators alliances at the top of the pyramid: the 7 Kill alliance, the 1,000 Years alliance, and the Eternal alliance. Under these 3 sectless cultivators alliances were the sectless cultivators alliances like the 100 Ghosts alliance and the mighty tyrannical alliance. In order to survive and not be swallowed by the 7 Kill alliance, the 1,000 Years alliance, and the Eternal alliance, they had no choice but to rely on one of the sectless cultivators alliances. The 100 Ghosts alliance and the mighty tyrannical alliance had chosen to rely on the 7 Kill alliance. It was precisely because of this that the 2 sectless cultivators alliances were constantly fighting both openly and covertly for the sake of showing their prowess in front of the 7 Kill alliance. As time passed, they had become a pair of mortal enemies. Qing was the young alliance leader of the 7 Kill alliance. To a certain extent, he was also the young master of the 7 Kill alliance. As the leaders of the 2 rogue cultivator alliances under the 7 Kill alliance, Chen Xianba and Yin Xianming were naturally respectful when they saw Qing. They did not dare to slight him. After all, to a certain extent, they were also considered the 7 Kill alliance's subordinates. Young alliance leader, I wonder, what do you mean by your words earlier? Yin Xianming looked at Qing and asked respectfully. At the same time, a puzzled expression appeared on his face. He did not forget Qing's words when he first appeared. Alliance leader Yin, you're really brave. You actually dared to ask your subordinates to look for trouble with the black-robed man. Based on Qing's words, it was obvious he knew the black-robed man was not someone to be trifled with. For this reason, Yin Xianming was puzzled. Although Qing's strength was ordinary, He was not afraid of ordinary people due to his noble status as the young alliance leader of the Seven Kill Alliance. When Yin Xianming asked O Qing this question, Qin Shuangba also looked at O Qing. He could tell O Qing was wary of the black-robed man. For this reason, he was curious as well. Why was the young alliance leader of the Seven Kill Alliance so afraid of the black-robed man? Not too long ago, O Qing immediately looked at Dong Guozhi, the young alliance leader of the Thousand Years Alliance. When Yin Xianming and Qin Shuangba were puzzled, Wang Dingshan, an elder from the Thousand Years Alliance who was with Dong Guozhi, was killed by the black-robed man. When Dong Guozhi appeared, Qin Shuangba, Yin Xianming, and the others also appeared. Then, they heard O Qing's words. They were dumbfounded for a moment. When they saw Dong Guozhi appearing alone earlier, they were puzzled. How could the young alliance leader of the Thousand Years Alliance not have any bodyguards with him? However, when they heard O Qing's words, they realized something. It was not that Dong Guozhi did not have any bodyguards with him. It was that the bodyguard had died. He was killed by the black-robed man. Elder Wang Dingshan from the Thousand Years Alliance? If I'm not mistaken, Wang Dingshan's cultivation base had broken through to the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage a few years ago, right? He's ranked at the 159th place on the Supreme Saint ranking. Such a powerhouse was killed by the black-robed man? Heavens! Don't tell me the black-robed man is a powerhouse at the fifth form of the Saint Celestial stage or above. Not necessarily. Even if he's an elite powerhouse at the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage, it's not difficult for him to kill Wang Dingshan. After all, Wang Dingshan is only at the bottom of the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage. Even the weakest powerhouse at the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage is not someone like Yu Chunwu, the first elder of the 100 Ghosts Alliance, could compare to. I finally understand why young leader O from the Seven Kill Alliance said those words earlier. The people around the tear in the sky began to discuss among themselves again. They were shocked by the strength of the black-robed man that Duan Lingtian had disguised as. With Wang Dingshan as the foil, Duan Lingtian's deterrence was deeply rooted in their hearts. Humph! Dong Guozhi snorted coldly when he sensed the strange looks from the people around him. Then, he flew into the tear in the sky and disappeared. Young Alliance leader Dong Guo from the Thousand Years Alliance has also entered the tear in the tear in the tear in the sky. Many people exclaimed in surprise, "Young Alliance leader, since you knew the black-robed man was powerful, why didn't you warn me earlier?" Yin Xianming's expression was grave as he spoke in a low voice. If O Qing had warned him earlier, he would not have allowed Yu Chunwu, the first elder of the 100 Ghosts Alliance, to die. Yin Xianming, how dare you? As soon as Yin Xianming finished speaking, Lu Jin, who was standing behind O Qing, said coldly, "Are you questioning the young alliance leader?" Yin Xianming's expression changed when he recalled O Qing's identity. He quickly lowered his head and said, "Young alliance leader, I didn't mean it that way. Humph." O Qing glanced at Yin Xianming coldly before he motioned to Lu Jin. Both of them entered the tear in the sky. A commotion broke out in the surroundings again. Why did they enter the tear in the sky without any hesitation? Aren't they afraid of death? Many people were puzzled. Perhaps they know there's no danger in there, someone said. If there's no danger, let's not talk about the other sectless alliances. The mighty Tyrannical Alliance and the 100 Ghosts Alliance are sectless alliances under the Seven Kill Alliance. There's no reason why the Seven Kill Alliance didn't warn them, right? Chapter 2135. Based on what I know, both the mighty Tyrannical Alliance and the 100 Ghosts Alliance willingly submitted to the Seven Kill Alliance. The people from the Seven Kill Alliance might not take them seriously. I think so too. Even if the people from the Seven Kill Alliance know there's no danger behind the tear in the void, they might not have warned them. After all, if there's really a treasure vault left behind by a powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage behind the tear in the void, the people from the Seven Kill Alliance would be more eager for the people from the mighty Tyrannical Alliance and the 100 Ghosts Alliance to not enter. That's right. If one more person goes in, one more person will get a share of the loot. It's understandable why the people from the Seven Kill Alliance didn't warn them. Many people discussed among themselves in the surroundings of the tear in the void. When their words reached the ears of the high-ranking officials from the mighty Tyrannical Alliance and the Hundred Ghost Alliance, including Qian Xianba and Yin Xianming, they narrowed their eyes and their expressions darkened. This was because this was indeed the case. Qing is a good-for-nothing rich kid who's afraid of death. He didn't even frown when he entered the tear in the void. It seems like there's no danger behind the tear in the void. The eyes of Qian Xianba, the leader of the mighty Tyrannical Alliance, flashed. Then, he sent a voice transmission to the high-ranking officials of the mighty Tyrannical Alliance behind him. If any of you still don't dare to enter, you can stay outside. As soon as Chen Xianba finished speaking, he flew into the tear in the void under everyone's watchful eyes and disappeared. When the high-ranking officials from the mighty Tyrannical Alliance regained their senses, they discovered their leader had already entered the tear in the void. Their eyes flashed as they followed him in. No one was an exception. This scene immediately caused another uproar. Chen Xianba is really fast. Yin Xianming, the leader of the Hundred Ghost Alliance, could naturally think of the things that Chen Xianba could think of. In fact, to a certain extent, he knew Qing better than Chen Xianba. He knew that Qing was far more afraid of death than the average person. However, Qing had entered the tear in the void without any hesitation. This was enough to prove there was no danger behind the tear in the void. In addition, in terms of strength, Qing was much weaker than him. Previously, whether it was Chen Xianba or Yin Xianming, none of them dared to enter the tear in the void. Although the high-ranking officials from the Seven Kill Alliance, the Thousand Years Alliance, and the Eternal Alliance had entered the tear in the void, they did not dare to enter. Among the high-ranking officials in the Seven Kill Alliance, the Thousand Years Alliance, and the Eternal Alliance, there were many powerhouses at the fifth form of the Saint Celestial stage like them. Moreover, there were more than one or two powerhouses in each of the three great alliances. Apart from that, the leaders of the three major alliances were all at the sixth form of the Saint Celestial stage. Therefore, even though the higher-ups of the three rogue cultivator alliances wouldn't be in any danger when they entered the Void Rift, it didn't mean that the rest of them wouldn't be in any danger when they entered. Because of this, they didn't dare to enter. Now that they saw that even Qing, a hedonistic young master who feared death, entered the void crack without batting an eyelid, they no longer hesitated. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. After a while, the people from the Hundred Ghost Alliance, including Yin Xianming, the leader of the Hundred Ghost Alliance, entered the Void Rift and disappeared from everyone's sight. The people from the mighty Tyrannical Alliance and the Hundred Ghost Alliance have entered as well. Many people exclaimed in surprise. As far as I know, Qing, the young leader of the Seven Kill Alliance, is a spoiled brat. Logically speaking, such a person should be afraid of death. If he dies, he won't be able to enjoy the benefits his father gave him. It was unknown who said this. As soon as he said this, many people immediately agreed with him. Does this mean the people from the mighty Tyrannical Alliance and the Hundred Ghost Alliance don't think there's any danger in the Void Rift because of this? Many of the people present on the scene were smart. It was not difficult for them to figure this out. That should be the case. Since the people from the mighty Tyrannical Alliance and the Hundred Ghost Alliance have entered, why are we still hesitating? Let's go. Let's go in as well. Many people from the Rogue Cultivator Alliance and the Seckless Cultivators followed suit and entered the Void Rift. One by one, they disappeared. In just a few moments, almost half of the people around the Void Rift had entered the Void Rift. Naturally, there were still many people who did not dare to enter the Void Rift. Some of them were still hesitating. Lord Alliance Leader, many people have entered the Void Rift. Should we enter as well? One of the high-ranking officials from the Black Crow Alliance asked after a moment of hesitation as they looked at the Alliance leader, Black Crow Old Man. At this moment, Black Crow Old Man was still in a daze. The scene of the space twisting and folding earlier kept replaying in his mind. It was at that moment that Yu Chun Wu, the first elder of the Hundred Ghost Alliance, was killed by the black-robed man. Apart from being the first elder of the Hundred Ghost Alliance, Yu Chun Wu was also ranked in the top 200 on the Supreme Saint ranking. However, such a person was easily killed by the black-robed man. If he was weaker, how could he possibly fight against the black-robed man? Despair rose in his heart. He felt that he would never be able to kill the black-robed man and avenge the Black Crow Alliance's humiliation in this lifetime. Due to this reason, he was extremely unwilling to give up. He kept thinking about the earlier scene in an attempt to find something. However, no matter how many times he thought about it, he still could not find anything. He could not see what had happened in the space twisting and folding. Due to this reason, he could not see how the black-robed man had killed Yu Chun-Wu. HM? Black Crow Old Man regained his senses when he heard someone calling out to him. At the same time, he learned what had happened from the person who called out to him. Since Alliance Leader Chen from the Mighty Tyrannical Alliance and Alliance Leader Ian from the 100 Ghost Alliance have entered the Void Rift, there's nothing for us to be afraid of. Let's go in as well. Black Crow Old Man decisively made up his mind before he led the people from the Black Crow Alliance into the tear in the void and disappeared from the crowd's sight. The people from the Black Crow Alliance have entered the Void Rift as well. The Alliance Leader of the Black Crow Alliance, Black Crow Old Man, is famous in Sin City for being cautious. Otherwise, he wouldn't have waited until now to look for trouble with the black-robed man. That's right. The black-robed man has killed many people from the Black Crow Alliance. He even killed the second strongest person in the Black Crow Alliance, Zhao Zhan. Logically speaking, he should hate the black-robed man a lot. However, he didn't make a move until now. He even asked the people from the Black Crow Alliance to wait patiently. Since such a cautious person has entered the tear in the void, what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? When the people from the Black Crow Alliance entered the tear in the void, the people who were waiting outside followed suit. For a time, more than half of the people were gone. The remaining people were still hesitant. After all, they were unfamiliar with the tear in the void. They were not sure what they would encounter after they entered the tear in the void. It would be fine if they did not encounter any danger. However, if they did, they might even lose their lives. At the same time, many people arrived at the tear in the void. Tear in the void? At this moment, the eyes of an old man who had just arrived lit up. His voice was so excited that it was trembling. Tear in the void? Many people turned to look at the old man with a confused expression on their faces. When the old man saw the people looking at him, he straightened his back and cleared his throat before he said, "If I'm not mistaken, this is a tear in the void. Usually, only a treasure vault left behind by a powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation would have a tear in the void as its entrance. I didn't think I'd be able to come across a treasure vault left behind by a powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation." As soon as the old man finished speaking, he did not wait for the others to react before he moved closer to the tear in the void and allowed it to swallow him. Did he say it's a treasure vault left behind by a powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation? A moment later, someone was the first to come back to his senses. While inhaling a breath of cold air, he could not help but mutter. A powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation? Doesn't that mean he's about to ascend? More and more people regained their senses. All of them had an expression of disbelief on their faces. Based on what I know, powerhouses at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation would have a higher level of energy in their body. With that level of energy, they would be able to create an independent space. Does this mean this tear in the void is the entrance to a space created by a powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation? A powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage who has passed the heavenly tribulation wouldn't be so bored as to create a space to harm us. In that case, there's a high chance that the space behind the entrance contains his inheritance and treasures? Damn it! To think I hesitated for so long. If I had known earlier, I would have gone in with them. Sometimes, it's not always a good thing to be cautious. After the old man finished speaking, the people outside no longer had any reservations. They swarmed toward the tear in the void and entered it in groups of 3 to 5. The void crack was like the bloody mouth of a giant beast that could not eat its fill. It did not refuse anyone who came. After a few moments, there was no one outside. Although there were a few people, they hesitated for a moment before entering the tear in the void. After all, when they saw there was no one outside, they could tell the tear in the void was safe. Whoosh! Whoosh! Chapter 2136. If Duan Lingtian was still outside the tear in the void, Hualao would have warned him immediately. The two people who were coming from different directions were powerhouses at the seventh form of the Saint Celestial stage or above. Minghao, I didn't expect you to receive the news as well. One of them was an old woman with white hair. She was dressed in a gray robe and looked very ordinary. If she were to stand on the street, the bystanders would definitely think that she was an extremely ordinary old woman. Apart from that, she was holding a walking stick with a snake's head in her hand. She stood in the air as though she was standing on the ground. The snake's head on the walking stick was so lifelike that it looked like a real snake from afar. And now, this old woman's eyes were shining like bright stars. She took the initiative to greet the other person who had appeared with her. The other person was a young man dressed in a blue robe. He had a scholarly appearance, and his fair skin made him look like a pale-faced scholar. As he stood there, he emitted a cold aura that kept people at arm's length. It was as though he was warning people not to get close to him. Otherwise, they would have to bear the consequences. However, even though he looked young, his actual age was already several hundred years. Naturally, with his cultivation base, he was considered young even if he was a few hundred years old. Although the old woman in front of him was not as strong as him, she had lived for almost 1,000 years. In terms of seniority, she could be his grandmother's grandmother's grandmother. Based on the way the old woman addressed the young man, it was obvious the young man's name was Meng Hao. It was also because Duan Lingtian was not here. If Duan Lingtian was here and found out the young man's cultivation base was at or above the seventh form of the Saint Celestial stage, he would be able to identify the young man immediately after hearing the young man's name. Meng Hao, known as the Aloof Scholar, was a powerhouse at the seventh form of the Saint Celestial stage. He was one of the guardians of Sin City. Apart from that, Meng Hao was ranked 21st on the Supreme Saint ranking. The Supreme Saint ranking was a ranking that included almost all the prominent powerhouses in the Dao Martial Saintland. The fact that Meng Hao was ranked 21st on the Supreme Saint ranking showed just how powerful he was. Only you, Granny Snake, are allowed to get information. But I, Meng Hao, am not allowed to get it? When he heard the old woman take the initiative to greet him, Meng Hao immediately responded in an extremely impolite manner. His tone did not show any fear towards the old woman just because she was older than him. Madame Snake was a famous powerhouse in the upper province of the Dao Martial Saintland. Similar to Meng Hao, she was a powerhouse at the seventh form of the Saint Celestial stage who frequented Sin City. She was also one of the guardians of Sin City. However, although she was twice as old as Meng Hao, her strength was still somewhat lacking compared to Meng Hao's. This could be seen from her ranking on the Supreme Saint ranking. Madame Snake was ranked 23rd on the Supreme Saint ranking. However, although her strength was not as strong as Meng Hao's, that was only in front of Meng Hao. In front of others, her strength was extremely terrifying. How could someone who was ranked 23rd on the Supreme Saint ranking not be terrifying? Whoosh! As soon as Meng Hao finished speaking, he did not wait for Madame Snake's reply before he entered the tear in the void in a flash. Humph! Madame Snake was, naturally, annoyed by Meng Hao's impoliteness. She scoffed when Meng Hao entered the tear in the void. Then, she did not hesitate and entered the tear in the void as well. Not long after the two of them entered the tear in the void, another 4 people arrived one after another. Moreover, the speed of these 4 people was not any slower than Meng Hao and Madame Snake. These people were powerhouses at the 7th form of the Saint Celestial stage or above in Sin City. However, unlike Meng Hao and Madame Snake, these powerhouses had arrived at different times. They did not encounter each other, so there was no conflict between them. When the people from Sin City entered the tear in the void and entered the treasure vault that was suspected to be left behind by a powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage, many people from Sin City had already left their sections. Many people from various forces left Sin City and returned to their respective sects to spread the news. It's suspected to be a treasure vault left behind by a powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage. Moreover, It's a treasure vault left behind by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation. All the powerful forces near Sin City, including the Zhuangzi Buddhism, were alerted by the news. For a time, apart from a portion of the powerhouses who stayed behind, the rest of the powerhouses swarmed out. Their target was the northern side of Sin City. While the powerhouses from these forces entered the tear in the void and entered the treasure vault left behind by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation. Meanwhile, Duan Lingtian was in a pseudo-realm behind a tear in the void. He was going through layers and layers of tests. There were all sorts of tests, and all of them were progressive. The further one progressed, the more difficult it became. I wonder what the outcome will be if I fail these tests. Duan Lingtian was curious about this. Just as Duan Lingtian was feeling curious, a voice suddenly rang out. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At the entrance to the pseudo-realm that Duan Lingtian was in, outside the tear in the void to the north of Sin City, several figures appeared out of thin air. Upon closer inspection, one would see that there were 3 groups of people. The owners of these figures were divided into 3 groups of people. Each group of people was wearing the same clothes. They were all exclusive clothes. People from the 7 Kill Alliance, the 1,000 Years Alliance, and the Eternal Alliance. The appearance of these people instantly alarmed many experts from various forces around Sin City. These experts guessed the identities of the people who had appeared out of thin air from the exclusive attire they wore. Damn it, I can't go in. Soon after, one of the people from the 7 Kill Alliance tried to enter the pseudo-realm behind the tear in the void again. However, he discovered the tear in the void no longer accepted him. Instead, a force pushed him out and blocked him. It's useless. At this moment, an elder from the Zhuangzi Buddhism sect shook his head and said, if it's really a treasure vault left behind by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation, the independent realm that's the treasure vault must have set up strict rules according to that powerhouse's will. Powerhouses at that level usually set up tests in the treasure vault they left behind. Those who are eliminated from the tests will be sent out of the independent realm and won't be able to enter again. Based on the words of the Black Kshetra sect's elder, it could be seen that he was knowledgeable and multi-talented. As an elder from the Zhuangzi Buddhism sect, one of the 3 great sects in the Tao Martial Saint Land, it was only natural that he knew more than ordinary sectless cultivators. Upon hearing the words of the elder from the Zhuangzi Buddhism sect, the people from the 7 Kill Alliance, the 1,000 Years Alliance, and the Eternal Alliance who were eliminated looked at each other and smiled wryly. What kind of tests will we face in there? Soon after, the high-ranking officials from the various forces, including the Zhuangzi Buddhism sect, could not help but ask the high-ranking officials from the 3 great alliances in Sin City. Naturally, the latter would not tell them the truth. As sectless cultivators, they instinctively ostracized the high-ranking officials from the various forces, including the Zhuangzi Buddhism sect. However, although they remained silent, they did not leave. Instead, they waited quietly at the side for the people from their respective alliances to come out. This was an order given by the leaders of their respective unaffiliated cultivators' alliances early in the morning. Even if they were eliminated, they were not allowed to leave. This was to prevent their allies from obtaining treasures. The high-ranking officials from the various forces, including the Zhuangzi Buddhism sect, were not surprised by the silence of the people from the 7 Kill Alliance, the 1,000 Years Alliance, and the Eternal Alliance. After all, they were only asking casually. They would be surprised if the people from the 3 great alliances answered. Bang! Behind the tear in the void, in the pseudo-realm created by a powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation, Duan Lingtian raised his hand and punched a giant that was emitting devil chi. When the giant was sent flying, it turned into a puff of smoke and disappeared as though it was never there. It seems like the difficulty is getting higher and higher, Duan Lingtian muttered to himself with a solemn expression on his face after he passed another test. Let me take a look. At this moment, Hua Lao's voice rang in Duan Lingtian's ears. I discovered 3 different auras in this pseudo-realm. These 3 different auras are the source of this pseudo-realm. 3 different auras? What do you mean? Duan Lingtian was confused. His eyes were filled with confusion. I think this pseudo-realm isn't created by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation. It's the product of three powerhouses at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation. Elder Hua's voice continued to sound. His tone was full of certainty, and there was no room for doubt. What? Duan Lingtian was stunned when he heard Hua Lao's words. The pseudo-realm he was in was not created by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation. It was created by three powerhouses at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation. What did this mean? Elder Hua, do you mean that in this pseudo-plane? Duan Lingtian took a deep breath and tried his best to calm himself down. However, when he spoke again, his voice was slightly trembling with excitement. That's right. Chapter 2137. Gasp! Duan Lingtian inhaled sharply when he heard Hua Lao's words. A pleasantly surprised expression appeared on his face. Duan Lingtian had thought the pseudo-realm he was in was a treasure vault left behind by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation. He had thought the pseudo-realm he was in was a treasure vault left behind by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation. Duan Lingtian was eager to obtain the treasures left behind by the powerhouse. However, Hua Lao had just told him that there were three powerhouses in the pseudo-realm. It was not one powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation, but three powerhouses at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage who had successfully passed the heavenly tribulation. They had worked together to create this pseudo-realm. A pseudo-realm created by three powerhouses at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation. There must be treasures and inheritances left behind by the three of them. The treasures left behind by three powerhouses who stood at the peak of the mundane realm must be extraordinary. Duan Lingtian's breathing quickened when he thought of this. It took him a long time to calm down. He could not help but feel excited at this moment. After all, the place he was in was not just a treasure vault left behind by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation. It was a treasure vault left behind by three powerhouses at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation. Since they created this independent pseudo-realm together before they ascended to the heaven ascension, it shows that they have a good relationship. They must have left behind something they obtained in the mundane realms that they can't bring to the Devata realms. Those treasures might be nothing to them after they ascended to the Devata realms, but they must be rare treasures in the mundane realms. When he thought up to this point, Duan Lingtian's mood that had calmed down slightly became agitated again. Moreover, during the subsequent tests, Duan Lingtian could not completely calm his surging emotions. There were a few times when his mind wandered off. Fortunately, the following tests were not too difficult for him. It's already a little strenuous. The subsequent tests will definitely be more difficult. I wonder when these tests will come to an end? After passing another difficult test, Duan Lingtian immediately discarded all distracting thoughts and did not dare to be distracted again. So far, he had passed many tests. These tests had appeared out of thin air in front of him not long after he entered this pseudo-realm. He had no choice but to face them head-on. The test was very simple at the beginning, but it got more and more difficult as it progressed. By now, even Duan Lingtian was feeling a little strained. Of course, the reason why he felt this strenuous was because he was far from using his full strength. Not only did he not use his full strength, he even had many trump cards that he had not used yet. Continue. As the void in front of him trembled, the next test arrived as scheduled. 10 gigantic beasts appeared out of thin air in front of Duan Lingtian, pressuring Duan Lingtian. Upon seeing this, Duan Lingtian narrowed his eyes. His expression turned solemn as he began to focus. At this point, he had no choice but to focus. If he was not careful, he would be eliminated. Based on the information that Hua Lao had gathered about this pseudo-realm and the consequences of being eliminated here, Duan Lingtian knew that if he was eliminated, he would be sent out of this pseudo-realm. Apart from that, he would not be able to enter again if he was sent out. In that case, he would miss out on the treasures left behind by the three powerhouses at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation. Just the thought of it made Duan Lingtian's heart ache. For this reason, he did not dare to be careless in the next test. He began to take it seriously. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. When the 10 gigantic beasts appeared out of thin air, the void around Duan Lingtian began to tremble. The sound of wind whistling rang in Duan Lingtian's ears like thunder. Black Tortoise's barrier. In just a blink of an eye, Duan Lingtian cast his defensive divine ability. This was the first divine ability he had cast since he entered the pseudo-realm. This was the first defensive divine ability of Zoroastrianism. As soon as he cast his divine ability, a gigantic black tortoise's silhouette appeared around Duan Lingtian's body. It was like a gigantic beast from the ancient times, protecting Duan Lingtian. If he wanted to touch Duan Lingtian, he would have to go through the black tortoise's silhouette. Roar, roar. Accompanied by a series of earth-shattering roars, the 10 gigantic beasts that appeared out of thin air pounced toward Duan Lingtian one after another. A terrifying energy surged out of their bodies, causing the void to tremble. The sound of friction rang in the air as it stirred up a strong wind that transformed into a powerful shockwave. The shockwave wreaked havoc, causing the surrounding void to tremble again as though it would collapse at any time. The 10 gigantic beasts attacked at the same time. 10 surges of energy merged together, causing the sun and moon to dim in just a blink of an eye. It was as though dark clouds were pressing down on Duan Lingtian. The 10 surges of energy that converged together descended in unison and blasted onto the black tortoise's silhouette that protected Duan Lingtian. Instantly, boom, 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 boom. The black tortoise's silhouette trembled violently as a thunderous sound reverberated in the air. It rose and fell like a sailboat that had crashed on the calm sea, causing turbulent waves to rise on the surface of the sea. A few moments later, the black tortoise's silhouette was on the verge of collapsing like an arrow at the end of its flight. However, at this moment, the energy from the 10 gigantic beasts had been depleted. I managed to stop it. Upon seeing this, Duan Lingtian's eyes gleamed as he thought to himself, as expected of the number 1 defensive divine ability of Zoroastrianism. I've only been in the rudimentary mastery for a while, but I can already display such a powerful defensive ability. At the same time, the black tortoise's silhouette that was at the end of its flight disappeared without a trace with just a thought from Duan Lingtian. It was as though it was never there. Whoosh! In the next instant, Duan Lingtian raised his hand, and the 1,000 inscriptions Saint Sword appeared in his hand. As soon as he let go of his hand, the 1,000 inscriptions Saint Sword immediately flew out as though it was being guided by an invisible force toward the 10 gigantic beasts. It was the sword-wielding art that was given to Duan Lingtian by casting the 3rd stage of the Sovereign Heart Sword. The 3rd stage of the Sovereign Heart Sword was also known as the sword-wielding with the heart. The sword wielded with the heart. The sword-wielding art that I'm casting now is even more powerful than the most powerful sword technique in the Dao Martial Saintland. Duan Lingtian was filled with confidence. Whoosh! As the sound of a sword whistling in the air rang in the air, a sword ray flashed and drew a circle in the air in just a blink of an eye. During this process, the gigantic beasts that were in the path of the sword ray shattered into pieces. This meant that Duan Lingtian had passed another test. It's closed. At this moment, Hua Lao's voice resonated in Duan Lingtian's ears, causing Duan Lingtian to regain his senses. It's closed? What's closed? The entrance to this pseudo-realm has been closed. Hua Lao replied, The entrance has been closed? Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up when he heard this. Does this mean that from now on, no one will enter this pseudo-realm? Yes. Hua Lao replied. After receiving confirmation, Duan Lingtian was, naturally, excited. Now that the entrance to the pseudo-realm had been closed, it meant that no one would enter and compete with him. There would be no more competitors. As far as he was concerned, this was a matter of great benefit and no harm. However, I've been here for quite some time now. The entrance to the pseudo-realm has just closed. I'm afraid the Black Kshetra sect and the other forces around Sin City have received the news and sent their men here. When Duanling Tian thought of this, he could not help but frown for a moment before relaxing again. In the next moment, the sound of wind whistling rang in the air. Duanling Tian had gone to face the next test. Meanwhile, outside the entrance to the pseudo-realm, a group of people who had been eliminated watched as the tear in the void gradually closed. In the end, it completely disappeared before their eyes. The entrance has closed? Immediately, the pupils of the people guarding outside shrank involuntarily. After a while, more people from the forces around Sin City arrived. When they realized they were too late, they beat their chests and stomped their feet in frustration. Damn it! I can't believe I missed it. I was so close. A dozen breaths of time. Just a dozen breaths of time. That's a treasure vault left behind by a powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation. I can't believe I missed it. Am I really that unlucky? After a while, more people arrived. When they found out the entrance to the treasure vault left behind by the powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation had closed, they regretted not coming earlier. Whoosh! Whoosh! Suddenly, 2 gusts of wind blew past. 2 young men appeared out of thin air in front of everyone. Young leader. Young leader. When the 2 young men appeared, the 2 groups of people outside immediately greeted them respectfully. Of the 2 young men, one of them was wearing a brocade robe. His body was thin and frivolous, and his face was pale. He looked like a spoiled brat. The other person was wearing a feather fan and a silk headscarf. He was dressed like a scholar, but he looked a little wretched now. He was not as elegant as he usually was. These 2 young men were none other than Qing, the young leader of the 7 Kill Alliance, and Dong Guizhi, the young leader of the 1,000 Years Alliance. Chapter 2138. It's Qing, the young leader of the 7 Kill Alliance, and Dong Guizhi, the young leader of the 1,000 Years Alliance. They've been eliminated as well? Qing and Dong Guizhi's appearance attracted the attention of many people. Some of the sectless cultivators who had been eliminated recognized them. Novels? R? A? N? E? N? O? R? G? Qing and Dong Guizhi's expressions turned grave when they sensed the gazes on them. They were so close. They were so close to passing the test. However, they had failed at the critical moment. They couldn't accept this. They couldn't accept it. Of course, if they knew that there were more tests waiting for them that seemed to be endless and even more difficult than before, they might not think in such a way. Dong Guizhi, you're eliminated at the same time as me. It seems like you're not as strong as the young leader of the 1,000 Years Alliance. After Qing caught his breath, he looked at Dong Guizhi and said mockingly, "Didn't you say I'm a good-for-nothing rich kid in the past? As the young leader of the 1,000 Years Alliance, you're not much stronger than a good-for-nothing rich kid like me." Qing had not forgotten how Dong Guizhi had instigated the black-robed man to kill him. He had only kept it to himself. Now that he finally had a chance to mock Dong Guizhi, naturally, he would not miss it. Qing. Dong Guizhi was furious when he heard Qing's mocking words. However, he was speechless. He was not the only one who looked down on Qing. Even the sectless cultivators in Sin City felt Qing was inferior to him. Dong Guizhi was so embarrassed that he wanted to dig a hole and hide in it when he sensed the strange gazes on him. Qing smiled when he saw this. He felt it was worth it to be eliminated. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Soon after, figures began to appear one after another. They were none other than the people who had been eliminated. Initially, those who were eliminated were at the 1st form and 2nd form of the Saint Celestial stage. However, even those at the 3rd form of the Saint Celestial stage were eliminated. Elder Yu, Elder Shao. As the 2 figures appeared, Qing and Dong Guizhi exclaimed almost at the same time. The people who caused Qing and Dong Guizhi to exclaim in surprise were an elder from the 7 Kill Alliance and an elder from the 1,000 Years Alliance. Of course, if it were just ordinary elders in their respective alliances, it wouldn't be enough to make them lose their composure. The reason why they lost their composure was because these 2 elders were not simple. At the very least, They were not simple in their respective alliances. Isn't this Elder Yu Zhong from the Seven Kill Alliance? This is Elder Xiaopeng from the Thousand Years Alliance. Yu Zhong and Xiaopeng aren't ordinary powerhouses at the third form of the Saint Celestial stage. They're both ranked in the top 200 on the Supreme Saint ranking. Their strength is even slightly stronger than the first Elder of the Hundred Ghosts Alliance, Yu Chun Wu. Who would have thought that someone as strong as them would also be eliminated? The treasure vault left behind by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage, who seem to have passed the heavenly tribulation, has such a high elimination rate. I'm afraid there won't be many people left in there. I think so too. Most of the people in the surroundings were also people who had been eliminated. Now, they were all sighing. As time passed, more and more people were eliminated. All of them had one thing in common. All of them were below the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage. The powerhouses below the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage from the Seven Kill Alliance, the Thousand Years Alliance, and the Eternal Alliance have all been eliminated. The powerhouses below the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage from the Mighty Tyrannical Alliance and the Hundred Ghosts Alliance have also been eliminated. Apart from that, the powerhouses below the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage from the other alliances have also been eliminated. Currently, only the powerhouses below the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage from the Zhuangzi Buddhism and a few other forces are still in there. I'm sure they didn't stay in there for long. They're still in there because they entered later. That must be the case, as the crowd whispered among themselves. The powerhouses below the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage from the Zhuangzi Buddhism and a few other forces were also eliminated. As expected, there should be no powerhouses below the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage left in there. As expected of a treasure vault, left behind by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation. The elimination rate is insane. It seems like those below the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage won't be able to lay their hands on the treasures inside. This threshold is too high. At this moment, 90% of the people who were left outside were those who had been eliminated. Most of them had a bitter and helpless expression on their faces as they discussed among themselves. To be honest, they did not want to be eliminated. However, there were some things that they could not control. However, the tests inside are really insane. Not only are they harder than the previous ones, but there seems to be no end to them. That's right. If there are more tests, even ordinary powerhouses at the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage would be eliminated. Many powerhouses at the third form of the Saint Celestial stage who had been eliminated smiled wryly. Among the group of people who were eliminated, they were the ones who felt the most indignant. As time passed, there were still no powerhouses at the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage who were eliminated. At this moment, they realized the tests they had to go through must be the last few tests. In fact, it might even be the last test. That black-robed man. He's really at the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage. Old Black Crow, the leader of the Black Crow Alliance, looked around and asked around. He discovered that the enemy of the Black Crow Alliance was indeed a powerhouse at the fourth form of the Saint Celestial stage or above. Earlier, he had only made a guess. He still harbored some hope in his heart. Now, that trace of hope in his heart had completely collapsed and shattered into pieces. From today onward, all of you must let go of your hatred for the black-robed man. From today onward, the Black Crow Alliance will no longer be the Oriole who takes advantage of others. Old Black Crow decisively transmitted his order to the high-ranking officials of the Black Crow Alliance when he realized they would never be a threat to the black-robed man. The high-ranking officials of the Black Crow Alliance did not object to his order. Even the strongest leader of the Black Crow Alliance was afraid of the black-robed man's strength, let alone the high-ranking officials. The group of people outside the Black Crow Alliance was unaware of this. At this moment, there was a group of people who were bored in the pseudo-realm left behind by a powerhouse at the ninth form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation. Duan Lingtian was among these people. When can I get out of here? At this moment, Duan Lingtian was in a sealed space. The space was not big. It could only accommodate 2 adults at most. For this reason, Duan Lingtian felt pressured. Duan Lingtian had tried to break out of this sealed space. However, Even after he had used all his techniques, he still could not break out of this sealed space. In this completely sealed space, he couldn't touch it at all, but it was able to restrict his body and trap him firmly inside, making it impossible for him to escape. Walao, what's this space made of? Why can't my strength touch it? Duan Lingtian asked Walao about this. This space is a product of the pseudo-realm. As long as you're in the pseudo-realm, you're bound to be trapped by it. You won't be able to break free no matter what you do. However, if you're a powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage who has passed the heavenly tribulation and can leave this pseudo-realm, this space won't be able to bind you. This was Hua Lao's answer to Duan Lingtian. According to Hua Lao, it was impossible to break free from this space. Even a powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage who had not passed the heavenly tribulation would not be able to break free from this space since they would not be able to leave this pseudo-realm. A powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage who had not passed the heavenly tribulation and a powerhouse who had passed the heavenly tribulation were on a completely different level. The difference between the two was like heaven and earth. After listening to Hua Lao's words, Duan Lingtian immediately dismissed the idea of leaving this space. What a joke. Did he not hear Hua Lao say that even a powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage who had not passed the heavenly tribulation would not be able to break free from this space? A powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage who had not passed the heavenly tribulation would only need to lift a finger to kill him. If it was a powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage who mainly cultivated the soul and specialized in soul attacks, they would only need a thought to kill him. However, the test before I was locked in here was really difficult. If it wasn't for the fact that my son Saint Origin had mostly recovered after entering this pseudo-realm, I might not have been able to pass the test even if I used the Jasper Celestial Sword. Fear still lingered in Duan Lingtian's heart when he recalled the test he encountered earlier. If he did not use the Jasper Celestial Sword, he would not have been able to pass the test. After passing the test, Duan Lingtian's vision turned dark. When he regained his senses, he was already in this strange space. However, Duan Lingtian was unaware of this. Now, he wasn't the only one who was locked in such a space. Even the other people who had passed a series of tests like him were locked in the same space. The leaders of the 7 Kill Alliance, the 1,000 Years Alliance, the Eternal Alliance, and the 2 powerhouses at the 7th form of the Saint Celestial stage, Meng Hao and Granny Snake, were also locked in here. As for the rest of the people who had passed the series of tests, they were also trapped. No one was an exception. It was as though they were waiting for those who had not passed the test. Congratulations, you've passed the elimination test. After some time, a voice suddenly sounded in Duan Lingtian's ears. Chapter 2139. Who's that? Duan Lingtian began to look around when he heard the voice. However, he could not see anyone. It was as though the voice had come out of nowhere. 81 Omega, I know that you must be very curious about who I am. I am one of the founders of this space that you are in. The owner of the voice seemed to know what Duan Lingtian was thinking. He continued to say, I'm sure you're curious as to why I said I'm one of the founders of this realm. The voice paused for a moment when he spoke. However, Duan Lingtian was not curious at all. He had learned about this through Hua Lao's reminder. The pseudo-realm he was in was created by 3 powerhouses at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation. However, even though Duan Lingtian was not curious, it did not mean the others were not curious as well. One of the founders? The owner of the voice said he's one of the founders of this realm? Whether it was the Seckless powerhouses at or above the 7th form of the Saint Celestial stage from Sin City, the Karmapa at the 7th form of the Saint Celestial stage from Black Kshetra sect, or the powerhouses at or above the 4th form of the Saint Celestial stage, they were shocked when they heard Duan Lingtian's voice. Previously, they had thought the realm they were in was created by a powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation. However, the voice that had appeared out of nowhere was telling them the truth. He was one of the founders of this realm. When this voice sounded in everyone's ears, it was also when everyone who passed the elimination test was trapped in a similar strange space. Obviously, it was not a coincidence. Now, The people in this pseudo-plane had either passed the test or been eliminated. The reason I said I'm one of the founders of this realm is because I'm not the only one who created this realm. The voice continued to ring in the ears of Duan Lingtian and the others. Let me introduce myself. I'm Zheng Dongji. Before this space was created, I had already broken through to the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage. Moreover, I've already passed the heavenly tribulation and was about to ascend. When the owner of the voice spoke up to this point, those who already knew what was going on, including Duan Lingtian, were not surprised at all since they already knew about this. Those who did not know this beforehand were now both shocked and pleasantly surprised. He was shocked. The person who left this space behind was a powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation. He was pleasantly surprised. Since this was a treasure vault left behind by a powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation, there must be more treasures here. What a joke. How could a treasure left behind by a powerhouse at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage be ordinary? As I said earlier, I am only one of the creators of this space. This space was created by me and 2 other friends. My 2 friends had successfully passed the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage like me before they created this space. The voice rang again. This time, apart from Duan Lingtian, the others were stunned. Even the powerhouses at or above the 7th form of the Saint Celestial stage from Sin City and the Karmapa from Black Kshetra sect were in a daze like the rest of the people present. Naturally, they were powerhouses from the upper province of the Dao Martial Saint Land, so they quickly regained their senses. When they regained their senses, they could not help but feel shocked. This treasure vault was left behind by 3 powerhouses at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation. In other words, there are all kinds of treasures and inheritances left behind by 3 powerhouses at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation before they ascended. Although they were at the 7th form of the Saint Celestial stage, they could not help but feel their breaths quicken when they thought about this. The others, such as the leaders of the 7 Kill Alliance, the 1,000 Years Alliance, and the Eternal Alliance, the elders of the Black Kshetra sect and other forces, and many rogue cultivators from the City of Sin, finally regained their senses. They were both shocked and overjoyed. A treasure vault left behind by 3 powerhouses at the 9th form of the Saint Celestial stage who had passed the heavenly tribulation. I didn't think I'd be able to come across such a good thing in my lifetime. I've really struck gold this time. Each of the experts who were trapped in their own independent space was inexplicably excited. It wasn't until that voice was heard again that they gradually calmed down. The 3 of us have left everything we obtained in our lives and some of our cultivation experiences in this space. Naturally, only the people who make it to the end will be able to obtain the things we left behind. However, there's a high chance that all of you will be able to obtain it since all of you have successfully passed the elimination test. Apart from the 3 of you, everyone else has been eliminated. Naturally, it's still too early for all of you to celebrate. The elimination test is only the first test we set up. Everyone, including Duan Lingtian, was dumbfounded when they heard this. There were so many tests before this, but it's only the first test? The corner of Duan Lingtian's mouth twitched as a bitter smile appeared on his face. The others were speechless as well. After a moment of speechlessness, they began to discuss among themselves. What a joke. There were so many tests before this, but it's only the first test? Are you kidding me? Based on the difficulty of the tests, it's impossible for one to make it to the end without a cultivation base at the 4th form of the Saint Celestial stage. Currently, I'm afraid there's no one below the 4th form of the Saint Celestial stage in this independent space. Although only a few people said it out loud, it was the same thought that almost everyone had. Naturally, there were exceptions. For example, Duan Lingtian did not think this way. He did not think this way because he knew his own strength. He knew there was still a long way to go before he broke through to the 4th form of the Saint Celestial stage. Currently, his cultivation base was only close to breaking through to the 2nd form of the Saint Celestial stage. He had not even broken through to the 2nd form of the Saint Celestial stage. The 1st form of the Saint Celestial stage, the Saint Origin form. This was Duan Lingtian's current cultivation base. It was also the result of his cultivation in Sin City for the past 6 months. In the eyes of others, the results of his cultivation were frightening, but he himself was not very satisfied. Too weak, too weak. I'm still too weak. Even if I use the Jasper Celestial Sword and use all my strength, I can only kill an ordinary powerhouse at the 4th form of the Saint Celestial stage. If it's a powerhouse at the peak of the 4th form of the Saint Celestial stage, the most I can do is injure him severely. However, if it's a powerhouse at the 5th form of the Saint Celestial stage or above, I'm not a match for him at all. When Duanling Tian heard the owner of the voice, the person who called himself Zheng Dongji, said the tests he had gone through were only the first test, Duanling Tian immediately felt immense pressure. The first trial had already forced him to use all his strength. How difficult would the second trial be? After the second test, would there be a third test, or even a fourth test? Duanling Tian's heart sank when he thought about this. Next, you'll leave this place and appear in another place. You'll meet up with the others at that place. Naturally, you'll only be working with those who are still here. All of you will be divided into 3 groups. Each group will have to pass an independent trial. After the second test, only 2 batches of people will remain from the 3 batches. The remaining batches of people will be eliminated. When Zheng Dongji finished speaking, Duanling Tian and the others did not react at all. After all, it was normal for a group of people to be eliminated in the second trial. However, what Zheng Dongji said next caused their expressions to change in unison. When the second trial begins, those who are eliminated won't be kicked out of this space. They'll only have one path, and that's death. Death. Upon hearing this, Duanling Tian and the others could not help but change their expressions. They would have to die when the second trial began? For a moment, many of the weaker cultivators regretted coming here. Unfortunately, there was no medicine for regret in this world. With Duanling Tian's current strength, he was at the bottom of the pack. However, he did not regret his decision at all. Instead, he began to think about other things. According to what that Zheng Dongji said, the second trial will be divided into 3 groups of people. Every group of people will be one body, advance and retreat together. Either all of us will be eliminated, or all of us will pass. Duanling Tian sighed in relief when he thought about this. If he did not rely on his own strength, it was not impossible for him to pass the second trial. As long as the people in the same group as him were strong, he would be able to pass the second trial. There were also quite a few people who realized this point later. I hope the people in the same group as me are stronger. That way, I'll have a higher chance of passing the second trial. Oh my God! Give me a few more powerhouses at the 7th level of the Saint Celestial stage or higher. Many people with a weaker cultivation base were praying inwardly. As for those who were stronger, apart from those who were more arrogant, it did not matter who was in the same group as them. The remaining people were also praying inwardly. They hoped that Zheng Dongji would not be assigned with too many weak companions. Otherwise, they would drag him down and drag him down with them. Now, I announce that you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.